And I'm one.
Hello, everyone!
Hello!
Welcome to a new campaign, Terror of Tsathoggua. This is episode 1, entitled Crushed. I hope you're ready to begin. We have a new cast of characters waiting in the wings, waiting to see if they will die or be driven horribly insane.
Hooray! Yay!
You probably tell me, is the audio coming through clearly on my
It
end?
is, yeah.
Yes, as far as your audio goes,
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So,
Let's
let's...
being a bitch today, so...
Yeah, we know.
It's
We'll deal with it as it comes. But, let us begin. It is September of 1926. The summer has come to an end, and autumn is in full bloom, gripping the city of Arkham in shades of orange and yellow. The temperatures are steadily falling, growing colder, and the days growing windier and wetter as the streets of Arkham begin to thin out, and only the people with very important business are brave enough to exit out of the safety and warmth of their homes into the chilling fall of Massachusetts. There has been some local rumours abuzz of late. A small distance from Arkham, at the tiny quarry town of Rockport, an archaeological dig has been unveiled by the Miskatonic University History Department. Originally, the dig purported to be excavating an early colonial site from the 1620s, one of the earliest in this part of New England. However, a few days into the dig, stranger things began to happen. The first was the discovery of something much older underneath the colonial settlement. What appeared to be the remnants of a Viking village dating to around the 9th century AD. Something that is entirely out of place and time in North America. There have been rumours and heated debates among scholars over whether Vikings did in fact attempt to settle North America long before other Europeans arrived, and it is with much excitement that Professor Manning, the director of the dig, announces that his crew have found, for the first time in history, verifiable evidence that this may be the case. But then things get even stranger. 2 days ago, a statue was unearthed in the Viking ruins, covered in what appear to be Viking runes. Initial testing revealed that the statue predated the Viking village. In fact, the statue had been dated to have been constructed as long as 4,000 years ago, predating any human settlement in this part of the country at all. Naturally, as soon as this piece of information leaked out, all of Arkham was in a buzz about it, discussing the implications of this very strange and unexplainable find. You have all been invited to attend the dig for various reasons. In your capacity as experts in one field or another, Professor Manning feels that you would be a welcome addition to this dig, and that you would be valuable in unraveling the mystery of these Viking ruins and this strange statue. And so, I will introduce all of the characters. First, played by Remington, we have Myra Digger. Myra Digger, please introduce yourself.
Well, hi there. And she's already got a fucking accent that I know I can't fucking keep. 2 words.
Well, points for trying, son.
Mira Digger is a 52-year-old woman who is... Imagine, nowadays the Instagram women and they're 40 to 50, but they're still got what they class as really good bodies type thing. They look way younger than they are.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She has a body like that. She's very good shape for her age.
Not her face, though.
But then you notice her face, and her face is horrendously scarred. She has scars and scratches, claw scars and bite scars all over her face and neck. And if you didn't know any better, you'd say that she was attacked by a bear sometime in her past. And it's bad enough that even hardened, criminals and bikies look away, as it's uncomfortable to look at her. Which is why she wears colourful sundresses and large floppy hats. Preferably large floppy hats that have the wide brims that dip just low enough that you can't see faces properly. And she also always wears a very thin belt around her waist, which attached to it is a very thin and slender rapier sword.
And so, Myra Digger, this rather eccentric occultist of high breeding, has attached herself to this dig. Hearing of these strange finds in the dig, you have become convinced that there is something strange afoot, something occult, possibly something related to that incident that resulted in the terrible disfigurement of your face, and the death of your husband. And so, you have gone to great personal expense, throwing a considerable portion of your fortune around to essentially buy your way onto this team, as you know that the Miskatonic University history department would be loath to accept someone whose only claim of expertise is the occult. Next, played by Kitty, we have Miss Anna Mae Sadler.
Me?
Yes. Anna Mae is a rough and tumble girl from the south, but this...
Very tall.
Very, very tall.
Over 6 foot.
Over 6 feet tall, quite attractive, and in most cases, your stereotypical Southern belle. However, don't let appearances fool you, as Anna Mae is actually quite intelligent and has quite the interest in archaeology. And as a reporter for the New England Journal of Archaeological Studies, Anna Mae has been invited to attend this dig so that she may conduct a thorough report for the journal and document all the findings for posterity. Eager to prove herself in a field that's mainly dominated by men, Anna Mae approaches her assignment with an eagerness that befits her rough and tumble southern exterior. Next, played by M1, we have the famed explorer Archibald Woodham.
Oh. Hello there, I'm Archibald Woodham. I do exploring in my spare time, and whilst covering across the many countries and many continents, I've got quite the explanation of big words and knowledge.
Yes.
You like my pith helmet? Take note.
Archibald Woodham is never seen without his pith helmet and field khakis, and although he doesn't have much experience in the field of archaeology, his extensive travels over the world have made him something of an expert in ancient Norse runes and relics. And so, he has been invited by Professor Manning to this dig to help translate the Norse runes on the mysterious statue that have been uncovered. Finally, last but not least, played by M2, we have Mike Moxley.
Yeah, that's me, Mike Moxley, working for the Arkham Advertiser. Another journalist, less of specialized and more of just whatever I can get my hands on. Always eager to get that job done, always eager to get whatever I can. This guy's basically just fresh on the job, is an absolute weed of a man. Like, unlike the other two ladies that were mentioned that were really tall, this guy's barely pushing towards not even like 6 foot and just looks like a friggin' stiff breeze. It'd probably knock him over. But is still eager to work, though.
Mike Moxley has only been in this line of work for about a year or two at this point, and most of his beat has been reporting on, a raffle down at the local soup kitchen and things of that nature. And so, this is a big step up from Mike, and he is eager to get the scoop on this most mysterious dig that has all of Arkham talking. And so, after a brief meeting with Professor Manning at Miskatonic University, you were given small slips of paper that say you are guests of the archaeological dig, and then you were provided with train tickets so that you may catch the train out to the town of Rockport. You were told that a local volunteer who's working on the dig will meet you at Rockport Station, and you will be brought immediately out to the dig, and you'll be able to begin your separate lines of inquiry, or if you feel like getting your hands dirty, maybe even contribute to the dig itself. And so, on this particularly cold and windy day, as dead leaves are swept across the cobblestone streets by the breeze, you take the afternoon train to the town of Rockport, and as the train pulls into the station and a conductor pulls open the carriage door, you see a rather thick-set, big-boned woman wearing denim overalls with long auburn hair, standing on the single platform, waving in your direction. "You there, guest from the Miskatonic, are you?" she calls out.
Well, Mike Mox will go over there quickly since he doesn't really know what's going on. Yeah, that's me. Is everyone else already with? Have we already met or anything? Or?
Yeah, you would have met on the train because you would have met at Miskatonic University and everything. So,
Yeah.
just bear with us, M1. Your internet will be able, as long as you can hear what's happening, you can type in the chat if need be. And so, the woman wipes her hand on the front of her overalls, and I'd like everybody to make spot hidden checks, please.
Yeah, the first roll.
Alright.
Just to get you into the swing of things.
And that's a 4 to kick off the season. Holy crap. And it's all downhill from here for Mike.
Oh, that's a 12. So that's a hard pass for me.
I got an 18, so that's a hard pass.
Yeah, everyone passed.
Ooh.
So as
Always
this
young,
woman,
but he's the good look.
as this woman brushes the palm of her hand on the front of her overalls, you can't help but notice that her hand, her palm, the back of her hand, and her ankle and her wrists are covered in splotches of dirt and mud. She cleans her hand as best she can, and then she holds it out. She holds her hand out to each of you in turn. Do you shake her hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, is otherwise.
Harriet Dempsey, the woman says. I'm a volunteer helping out at the dig. I'm be doing transport, carrying materials and supplies back and forth between the town and the dig site. I'm the only one in town who owns a truck fit for that purpose. So I heard when Professor Manning said people would be coming in by the train, I thought I'd come and pick you up.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice of you.
Follow me, she says. She turns around and begins to lead you off the platform out onto a dirt road that leads into the small town of Rockport that you can see ahead, resting on the side of a hill. A tiny collection of ramshackle buildings with bordering a huge quarry that seems to take up most of the side of the hill. She walks you towards a blue pickup truck with a word on the sign reading Masons with a picture of a rock and a pickaxe. She gestures towards the truck and she says, "Oh, look, cab's big enough that two of you can fit in the cab. The other two of you can make yourselves comfortable in the tray. Just be careful, there's equipment in there, and you might have to move some of it around first."
I'll jump in the tray.
Yep. Who else is jumping in the tray?
Nero walks towards the cab.
I was gonna say, Michael will just go, I've had worse rides, and just hops in the back.
And Archibald climbs into the cabin next to Myra, and everyone makes themselves comfortable. Harriet reaches over for the key in the ignition, and then she says, "Alright, before we get going, I understand you're all new to town. I don't know how much you've been told about the dig. Do you have any questions?"
That's a good question. I have several that I'm going to need to work with. What about, how long ago has it been since this little dig here started?
She says, "Oh, well, let's see. Miskatonic University chaps came about 2 weeks ago. At first, they were just digging up what they thought was an old colonial settlement. Probably the basis that Rockport eventually grew out from. I was the first one who actually discovered the Viking ruins," she says with a smile on her face. "I was digging by the edge of the site, and, well, I found something that didn't quite match the architecture of the colonial building, so I summoned Professor Manning, and he pretty much very well threw a fit when he understood what I'd dug up. He said it was the break of his career, and told me that these were Scandinavian ruins, which, well, as you know, I've never heard of Vikings here in New England. Have you?"
No.
Most of them.
No, that's very strange.
I ain't never heard much about no Vikings neither, but, I guess they're not supposed to be here.
I assume I'd know a little about Vikings.
Yeah.
Being into archaeology.
You'd know that there is some discussion amongst scholars about whether the Vikings did ever reach America before the other Europeans did, but there hasn't actually been any concrete evidence that this was the case until now, it seems. Harriet says, it was a while after that, about 2 days ago now, when the statue was uncovered. At first, everyone thought it was just a Viking relic, but some of the university crew did some rough dating on it, and they said it's about 4,000 years old, which predates the Vikings at the very least, and predates most human settlements in this part of New England. She says, not to mention it's got runes all over it. I'm not one for reading or anything like that, but I'm told they're Viking runes, and I guess that's why you're here.
I can just see Mike's just scribbling notes and whatnot. It's like Viking runes and something that's over 4,000 years old.
Archibald just nods and says, yes, the old Viking runes. Yes, my area of expertise. She turns the key in the ignition and the engine roars to life, and it's at this point you realise that there are no seatbelts or restraints in the cab. And as she slams her foot on the pedal and begins driving the car down the dirt road, you're all jolted forwards. Those of you in the back tray, Mike and Anna May, I would like you to please make dex checks.
Holy crap, that's a 9. I'm terrified. I'm gonna die this episode. I haven't rolled over 10 yet. It's gonna kill me.
That's 11, so that's an extreme pass.
That's an extreme pass. Okay. You're jostled forward amongst a pile of shovels, pickaxes, and other excavation equipment, but you manage to maintain your positions in the back of the tray, clutching the side of it, digging your fingers in and holding on for dear life as the pickup truck roars down the dirt road into Rockport.
Yeah, it's just like being on the subway back home.
As you drive, Harriet points out a few local landmarks that you pass by, giving you a quick tour as she drives you to the dig, which is just beyond a lumberyard in the southern outskirts of town. We've got Mason's Stoneworks just over here, Ducks off to the left, and that's the old Granite Ordinary, best pub in New England, if you ask me. As she points out these locations, with her left hand she reaches over to the glove compartment, pops it open, and extracts a folded piece of paper. She hands it to Myra, and you unfold it to find it to be a map of the town of Rockport. I'll put that up in Discord so that you may see. Because you never know, it might be handy.
Bigger than I was expecting.
Yes, it's a small town, but it does have at least a number of basic amenities. She says, so the dig is just on Prospect Street, past the lumber mill. There is a post office and a general store in town, but I don't believe you'll probably be spending much time in town. The dig's already fully equipped, of course, and I'm just bringing back the latest bunch of equipment from town anyway. She gestures towards the tray, and you look over your shoulder and you see Anna May and Mike still gripping the sides of the tray as shovels and other pieces of digging equipment just jostle around in the tray. Is there anything you would like to ask her before she brings you to the dig site?
Not really.
Yep. The truck finally pulls up to the dig site, which is situated in a large field opposite a lumber mill. And the lumber mill is closed for the day. The gate's locked and a big sign hung up on the gate reading "Closed for excavation." Harriet points to it and says, the professor had the lumber mill closed, didn't want any of the equipment interfering with the digging, you know what I mean? She pulls the truck onto the edge of the field, and you get a good look at the dig site itself. It appears that the crew have dug an area roughly the size of a football field down into the field itself, and the entire dig site is situated in an indentation about 5 feet deep. On the very edge of the dig site are a number of canvas tents and folded out plastic tables and chairs and wooden crates containing perishables and other supplies. Harriet kills the engine and she climbs out of the truck, and as you climb out and take your first steps on the grass on the edge of the dig site, Harriet waves at you and she says, "Well, good luck. I gotta get back to unloading everything and back to work on the dig." She reaches into the tray, grabs a bundle of shovels, and then jumps down the ditch into the dig site, running off with the equipment towards a group of canvas-clad diggers that you can see out on the other edge of the dig site. A flap on one of the canvas tents opens, and Professor Manning excitedly steps out, clad in field khakis and a slouch hat, looking almost like Archibald Woodham's twin. "Ah, you're here, he shouts, raising his arms in greeting.
How's it going?
"Oh, good, very exciting find. Mark my words, this is going to make my career." He gestures for you to come over to him at the work tent.
Just casually try to, well, you just see him Mike sort of struggling with his camera and stuff, and just sort of follows after him.
Well, Mira will walk towards the tent as well, but while she's walking, can she have a look around, like, just look around and see what she can see?
Yep, make a spot hidden check, please.
That's a 62. What's my skill? Can I push that?
You may indeed push it.
Am I able to have a look around as well?
Yep, you may go ahead.
No, that's a fail.
It's a fail. It's okay, Anna May, you may go ahead.
That is a hard pass.
I was gonna say,
So-
it's just hidden.
So the this portion of the site seems to have 5 canvas tents. One of them, the one that Professor Manning just emerged from, appears to be his personal tent. As the flap shuts behind him, you can just make out a wooden table and a single cot inside. 2 of the tents appear to be accommodations for male and female members of the dig team, respectively. The 4th tent is taken up almost entirely by a long plastic table and a portable camping stove that's set up at the very back, obviously the mess hall. And the 5th tent seems to be filled with nothing but large wooden crates, each of them stamped with designations, random configurations of letters and numbers. The lids on the crates are shut, and you're unable to see what's in them without going up and actually checking.
Oh, dang.
So, this is the accommodation area, says Professor Manning. You'll be bunking with the other members of the dig. Any meetings of importance take place in the mess hall, and if there's something that I need your personal expertise for, you'll join me in my tent. He thinks for a moment. He says, "Actually, that's where I have the idol now, and we'll certainly get to looking at that later tonight. But I think you've just arrived. It's already getting to be late afternoon. Perhaps you would like a tour of the archaeological dig." He looks over at Anna May and he says, "I'm sure you'd like to see exactly what's being worked on at the site?
Yes.
Yes,
I
yes,
certainly
that sounds
would.
good.
Very
I'm just here for some
well, he
pictures.
says. Oh, yes, Mike?
Just say, I'm just here to get some pictures for the papers, that's all.
Very well, he says. Flash away with your photography. Except when we get closer to the actual dig, please ask permission first. I don't want the flash distracting any of the diggers. Very delicate artifacts we're working with here. It's not hard at all to break them.
Sure, no problem.
Well, come on, he says. He smacks the top of his shin under his khaki shorts and then jumps down into the ditch. If you'd like to jump down with him, I would ask everybody to make either a jump or a climb check.
Oh, so I didn't put anything into either of those.
I was
Yeah,
going to, and then I didn't.
Actually, no, I do have climb, so I can.
Would that be Dex?
You could do a hard dex if you like, if that's going to be higher than your climb or your...
I was
jump.
gonna say,
Ooh, can I
I
push it?
just.
Wait,
Yes, you can push
to
it.
pass jump, like the base, do we just need to beat 20?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
I was
Oh.
gonna say, you see
My
this
man
spot?
can
Oh.
jump.
I got a 1.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
I
One,
did a
lovely.
Wow, I was gonna
Archery.
say, yeah. I like the fact that everyone else is just leaping, and then there's just Mike who's just barely struggling to climb over.
I
Arch-
got a
face
hard
first.
dex.
Hard dex,
It's
yep.
a-
And how did you
I
do,
got
Mike? Did you
extreme.
pass or fail?
You know, I'm the only one here that actually has climb, and I just got a regular ass pass. So
Yep.
even with my skill, everyone else is like, I'm gonna turn around after climbing down and go, oh, everyone's already down here, I guess.
So Archibald and Anime, clearly in their elements, just hoist themselves over the edge, landing feet first in the ditch, while Myra takes a more careful route, climbing down off the side, with Mike Moxley bringing up the rear, taking quite a long time to climb down as he's dragging his camera and tripod with him. And when you reach the bottom, you just see Anime and... Yeah, I said feet first, Kitty. Oh, you mean the GIF, yeah. And when you reach the bottom, you see Archibald and Anime just standing there with a flourish, impatiently waiting for you.
You know, so sorry, it's not exactly a fence back home in the Bronx.
Professor Manning proceeds to lead you around the dig site, showing you all of the areas where they've uncovered artifacts and introducing you to some of the crew. He gestures at some what appear to be half buried in the dirt rows of square-shaped stones, the base of a wall. He says, here we've got the wall footings of 2 stone buildings, as well as what looks like the edge of a colonial graveyard. He gestures beyond the buried wall, and there, beyond it, you could see the top parts of old, cracked headstones jutting out of the dirt. He says, this was the original focus of our dig. We weren't expecting a cemetery, but appears the settlement we were looking at was here for much longer than we thought. We were going to excavate the cemetery, but then over there, he points to the right of you, quite a distance away from these, from the remnants of this colonial cemetery. That's where Harriet discovered the Viking ruins. He leads you over to the site in question, and here you can make out what are very clearly the foundations of 3 square-shaped buildings. At first, they appear to be no different to the half-buried walls that you were just shown, but if any of you have archaeology or history, you may do a archaeology or history check.
Yeah, it just looks like old pointy buildings to me.
That was a 9. So that is an extreme pass.
Yes. You notice that not only are these three buildings in much better condition than the demolished walls. For instance, you can see the entire foundation of the building, but rather than just being constructed of wood poles and carefully hewn square stone, these buildings appear to be constructed of circular boulders that have just been stuck together haphazardly. In the middle of each of the foundations, there is also the top part of a pointy, cylindrical piece of stone. Its sides carved with what are very obviously Norse runes, and you identify these as steels. Old Norse steels. Marking sites of gathering places or burial places for the honoured dead, or just markers to denote where something important happened. He says, as you can tell, looks over at Anime and then the rest of you, the ruins are unmistakably different. The architecture, the building style is Scandinavian, and of course the steels here very specifically a component of several Scandinavian cultures.
Yeah,
And-
very strange.
Can I try and read exactly what the steels say?
Yes, you may make a Norse check if you like.
That is a normal pass.
So as Professor Manning leads you through this section of the dig and shows Anime intricate details of the building foundations, and Mike Moxley begins to shoot photos, you stray over to the steels and begin to read the Norse runes. They are very old, and age has wiped many of them away. Where the runes would have been clear and easy to read, they are now scuffed over and scratched and partially obscured, but you do manage to read portions of them, and it appears that all of the steels are celebratory markers. They tell you snippets of a story that this group of Vikings made their way over the sea to seek the homeland of their enemy, and that they erected these buildings and these steels in honor of making first landfall, and furthermore to celebrate a triumph over their enemy, having pillaged something from an enemy's temple of great value.
But it doesn't at any point state what this enemy is.
No, it may have at some point, but many of the runes are too damaged to properly read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I'll just snap some shots from a little further back because I don't want to. I suppose back then I wouldn't really.
Yeah, it wouldn't really distract anyone.
I was thinking more so to damage it, but then again, back in the 20s, that really isn't something we'd know of back then.
Would you like to make a photography check? Because it's possible that you may be able to study these runes later if you have photographs.
Absolutely. That's just a regular old pass.
Yep. So, as Myra translates the steels and Archibald reads them alongside her, you snap some photos of each of the three buildings, hoping that if they can't be used to study the runes in more detail later, they'll at least look good on the front page of the Arkham Advertiser.
I mean, that's what I'm here for. As long as it looks good.
Professor Manning claps his hands together and he says, well, this, I thought, was going to be the breakout moment of my career. After all, we have undeniable proof that Scandinavians came to America before Columbus. He says, it would be the talk of the archaeological community. He says, but then we discovered something stranger. He leads you through the buildings, and you come to the very edge of the dig site where there are about 8 or 9 volunteers, each dressed in khaki. 6 men and 3 women on their hands and knees, carefully digging through the dirt with their hands and tiny spades. "Oh, hey there, Professor!" calls one of the men, climbing up from his feet, standing in front of you and giving a joyful wave. This man is much heavier build than all of the other diggers, and the first thing that strikes you is he doesn't look like the type of person you would have working on any kind of job that requires a delicate touch. His hands in particular are quite large, and his bare arms are muscular and hairy. "Ah, yes," Professor Manning says. This is Elton King. He's another Rockport local who helps out at the dig. He mainly assists in breaking the foundation so that the other diggers can do a much more delicate penetration of the earth and extract any relics that are discovered." Elton King holds out a huge hairy hand for each of you to shake.
I imagine his with mine would probably just engulf the damn thing, but either way.
Yeah, he pretty much does. He grabs your hand and it disappears into the mound of flesh and hair that is his, and you can't help but feel like your hand has been crushed when he finally lets it go.
Just try to keep a brave face and just like, yes, what a grip you got there.
Well, as the professor said, I'm Elton King, the man says. My family's been here a long time, and look, we always knew there was something out here, and it wasn't until the chaps from the Miskatonic came and started this dig that we were actually able to make good on that curiosity that's built up over the generations. The professor smiles and he says, "Well, Elton was actually the one who discovered the statue. He was shifting some rocks and debris out of the ditch over there." He points to the ditch that the rest of the diggers are now working on. "And he found the idol half buried in the dirt, sort of just sitting there under a rock. It wasn't even very deep into the earth at all. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that someone had discarded it there not too long ago, but it's far too ancient for that." He gestures beyond Alton, where you can see a plastic table sitting on the edge of the dig with a canvas cloth laid out over the top of it, and several plastic and wooden trays arranged across it. He says, "I believe Alton and the others have also found some other relics. If you'd like to take a look, feel free. That's what you're here for, after all." Alton says, "Oh, yes, just be very careful with them. I damn near broke one of those arrowheads pulling it out of the earth this morning." What would you like to do?
I'm guessing the more archaeologist-based people are going to go and have a look at the rest of the stuff they found.
Yep. What would you like to do in the meantime?
I might actually go and ask. Is it Elton?
Yeah, Elton.
I might actually go and ask him a couple more questions since he was the one that found this to begin with.
Yep. And Myra and Archibald, what would you like to do?
So what is there here exactly, sorry?
So this is the ditch that the diggers are working on excavating currently. Alton King seems to be the foreman of the diggers, and all the artifacts they've uncovered so far have just been laid out on a small folding table, and that's presumably where Anna May and Archibald are going to go to take a look at them. So you could stay here, observe what the diggers are doing, you could talk to the diggers, or you could go check out the relics that have been uncovered.
I might go. What's anthropology for again?
That's
Sorry?
a study of the beliefs and culture of ancient peoples. So where archaeology would be to be able to tell what this relic was used for, anthropology would be able to tell, like, if it had religious significance or what the details of that religion were, so on and so forth.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go look at the relics then and see if there's anything that I can
Yep.
find out using anthropology.
And Archibald, what would you like to do? Go look at the relics, because that piques the interest of your explorer side, or would you like to maybe get your hands dirty and assist in some of the digging?
I would actually like to delve with some artifacts.
Yes, okay, so Anime and Myra and Archibald all go off to examine the artifacts that are laid out on the canvas cloth, while Mike walks over to Alton. Alton scratches his head and he says, newsy, are you?
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I never got a chance to properly introduce myself. Mike Moxley, Arkham investigator. Well, I was hoping to get a couple questions since you were the one to discover this here. Well, they said you were the one that discovered that statue, right?
Yes, he says, and then he laughs and beams you a smile, strokes his thick, bushy brown beard, and then he says, I could pose for a photograph if you like.
I mean, why not? Why not? You never know, it might come in handy, and be sure to send you a copy of it once it's been published. But how exactly did you come across this? I know they said you just sort of found it, not too buried. Did that seem odd to you? Just being sort of like lying around, you'd think something of this much value in history would be a little harder to find.
He says, oh yeah, for sure. Look, they usually only use me for, moving out the debris and the rubble that serves as the top layer of the excavation. He gestures out with very muscular, hairy arms, and he says, I mean, look at the size of me. These things are hundreds of years old. You don't want me anywhere near them. So usually, I just, break Earth on the first layer, and the rest of these fine people take it from there. But no, this thing was pretty much sitting right on top of the whole excavation. I literally just shifted a rock aside, and it was poking out of the dirt.
Interesting. Okay, just taking notes.
He says, I have to tell you, maybe don't put this in the article, but when I saw it poking out of the dirt like that, damn near had a heart attack. You'll understand when you see the thing, but when you see it, just imagine the top part of its head just poking out of the dirt, staring right up at you. Look, I don't mind admitting that I had a little bit of a moment there.
That's alright. We all get spooked by things here and there. It's nothing new. Well, if I have any more questions, I'll keep an eye out for you. Big guy like you ain't too hard to find, eh?
He says, oh yeah, sure.
Mind if I get a quick picture?
Oh yeah, sure, bud. Look, I'll pose in front of the other diggers. He walks over to the edge of the ditch, calls out to the other diggers and gets them to look in the direction of the camera, while he waves at you with his left hand and wraps his right arm around the shoulders of one of the female diggers, and she just sighs. Please make a photography check.
I was gonna say, come on, smile there. You gotta be on papers.
She sighs and does her best to flash a fake smile.
Oh, fun. That is a 44, so that's another pass.
You snap a photo, and as Anime walks past, hearing you to tell the girl to smile, she just pinches you on the arm. And then when you look over at her, she just whistles as she makes her way over to the relics. You spend the next 20 minutes setting up the camera and snapping a photo and making sure that you've got a couple good angles of the ditch and the diggers. Meanwhile, everyone else heads over to where the relics are. And laid out here across the canvas cloth, you can see a wide variety of different artifacts. What appear small, pointy pieces of stone that appear to be some type of arrowheads. Shards of metal that may have been parts of blades or tools. Pieces of pottery with very faint outlines of designs still visible on them, and the like. I would ask Anna May to please make an archaeology check. Meanwhile, fail. Yep. So you look at each of the things in turn, and you identify that these small pointy pieces of rock are indeed arrowheads, but they don't resemble Viking arrowheads that you've seen. Yeah, you can push if you want, but there is a risk of if you push and fail, you'll misidentify. Yes. They don't resemble any arrowheads you've seen in the past. They seem a bit too big to be Viking arrowheads, and the Vikings, as far as you know, did not make arrowheads out of stone, but instead made them out of iron, like all of their other weaponry. You can't place an origin without further study, but it does pique your interest a bit, and you share this with the others. Meanwhile, the shard of metal appears to be a piece of a knife, and you determine there's nothing interesting about it. It dates from when it should, around the 8th century, and was probably either part of a knife, a sword, or an axe head. The pieces of pottery are perhaps a little more interesting. They date from the same time, the 8th century, but the designs, or what are left of them that you can make out, appear to be strange. Usually Viking pottery has designs that harken back to Norse mythology, pictures of gods or of warriors fighting giants or trolls or elves and the like. But these designs feature Viking berserkers going up against what appears to be... The first thing that comes into your mind is a large ape, a humanoid creature towering over the Viking berserker with a thick layer of black fur. Would anyone else like to do anything with these artifacts?
Could I look at them and try and do an anthropology?
Yes, you may make an anthropology check.
Cool. Yeah, I'm probably going to ask quite a few times if it would apply, because I'm just...
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can do an anthropology check.
I would like to try and push that. That's better, that's a pass.
So, you see Anna May examining the arrowheads, and she looks at you and she just says, "Well, these aren't like any Viking arrowheads I ever seen before." And you take a look at them, and you aren't that familiar with Viking relics, so they just look like normal arrowheads to you. But you think maybe it's possible that these aren't Viking arrowheads, but perhaps are trophies taken from some sort of raid. After all, you know that the Vikings were an extremely warlike culture and would raid other tribes and cultures and essentially take relics from them as trophies along with their women and children to celebrate and remember their victory over these opponents. They would often create depictions of these battles as well and turn them into myth, and that's the source of the depictions you would see of Vikings fighting giants and the like. And so when you look at the shards of pottery, your first thought is perhaps that these are depictions of a battle that this particular group of Vikings fought.
Well, I don't think these are Viking arrows. I believe they are trophies from this enemy that the steels seem to talk about.
And when you look at the enemy that's depicted on the pottery shards, this humanoid, huge furry creature, it doesn't quite correlate with any of the mythological creatures that the Norse would often paint. You determine it's definitely not a giant, it's not an elf, it's not a dwarf or anything along those lines. This appears to be an entirely unique depiction to these shards of pottery.
Could I do a natural world check to see if it seems familiar to something that appeared in the natural world, or could I do an occult check to see if this image has popped up in any of my studies?
Make an occult check, please.
That's a normal pass.
You can't think of any specific instance of this creature, and with these designs being faded with age and damaged by the dirt, there's not a lot of detail on them, but the first thing that pops into your mind is Bigfoot. Lost remnants of a pre-human race that have somehow survived into the modern age. Savage, ape-like creatures.
Well, as silly as it sounds, it looks like these Vikings fought Bigfoot.
Everyone just sort of looks at you with a puzzled look on your face, and Anime, at the very least, knows that this is depictions of Bigfoot. She just says, "What?" And as she knows that depictions of Bigfoot are not part of Norse mythology at all. They're restricted mainly to Native American beliefs, although there are beliefs in other parts of the world, such as the Yeti in Tibet, but nothing that would typically overlap with Viking mythology. She just screws up her lips and says, "You're a weirdo."
Hey, just hear like Mike over in the background go, hey, just sort of laugh as he's taking pictures and stuff, going, "Come on, really? Bigfoot? That stuff's barely a legend even on our side of the world. Next you're gonna start saying you saw the Loch Ness Monster on one of them pots."
Well, I'm just saying, you come have a look at these pictures. They're humanoid figures with massive feet. What else would you say they are?
I don't know, maybe the guy who drew the pot's not very good at his job. I'm just here to take pictures, love.
Professor Manning just claps his hands together and he lets out a hearty laugh and he says, "Oh, Bigfoot and Vikings, now I've heard it all. They're not even connected, geographically isolated by an entire ocean, my dear lady." He says, no, perhaps more likely what we have here is just your usual depiction of a Jotun or giant or a troll or something like that. Let's just say, look at it. There's barely any detail. It's entirely possible that if it were clearer, we could tell for sure that it's actually just a giant or something. I think you're just looking into something that ain't there.
Yes, well, I just said what it looks like. I never said that it's exactly what what they fought.
Archibald nods and he says, "You'd be surprised, Professor. You may say Bigfoot is unique to the Americas, but in Tibet, on an expedition I was on, the local guides informed me of the legend of the Yeti, which is something extremely similar. It appears legends like these pop up all over the world." Mike Moxley, would you like to snap a photo?
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yep, make a photography check, please.
Oh, we're ready there. Ooh, that one's a hard pass.
You snap a photo of all of the artifacts, and Professor Manning holds up each of the artifacts close to the camera so you can get a detailed picture of each one. And this is good stuff, you think. This will definitely get pride of place on maybe the 3rd or 4th page of the paper.
Yeah, just thinking to himself, as long as they don't mention the Bigfoot plot, I'm sure they'll at least get this published.
The tour of the dig site, and this brief examination of the relics they've uncovered has taken longer than you would think. And once you're done taking photos, the sky above is tinged with orange. Professor Manning looks up and he says, "Oh dear, it's nearly dark. I've had you out here for hours and we haven't even got any work done." He says, "Well, the diggers will be retiring within the hour. We'll have some dinner in the mess hall, but if you'd like to come with me, maybe I'll show you that idol everyone's been talking about."
I would definitely love to get a shot of that.
He just chuckles and he leads you once again through the 3 ruined Viking buildings, past the half-buried wall, and deftly hoists himself out of the ditch, walking back towards his tent. I would like everyone to make climb checks to climb out of the ditch, please.
Alright, here we go.
Hey, that's actually somehow a hard pass, I believe.
That's a hard pass for Mike.
I got 10.
So, Myra and Archibald, and so you failed. Did you, Mike, or did you pass?
I got a hard pass on mine.
Yep.
I got 10 as
So
well.
Archibald and Mike and Myra pull themselves out of the ditch without little effort, and then you turn around and you look at Anime, and she smiles and gives you a curtsy, and perhaps emboldened by deftly jumping into the ditch a couple of hours ago, she tries to scramble up the side of the ditch, half jumping and attempting to grab hold of the top and pull herself up. But then she screams as her fingers let go, and she tumbles back down into the ditch, taking 1 point of damage.
Aww.
She
Just here at
stands.
the top of the ditch and like, you okay down there, ma'am?
She stands up, brushes dirt off her dress, and says, "I'm just dandy." And then the 3 of you help her out of the ditch, and you see she's grazed. She's grazed one of her knees, and it's bleeding a little bit. So, the professor runs into the mess hall, comes out with a first aid kit, and drops some alcohol and a small bandage over the wound. This is just for flavour, you won't regain that hit point. And then he says, "Well, let's hope you're a bit more delicate with the idol. This thing's already had some repairs done to it, and, well, I'll be frank with you. The reason I'm keeping it to myself is because I don't trust Alton or any of those local volunteers with handling it."
When you say repairs, what kind of repairs are we talking about?
He says, "You'll see in a minute, but, look, when I dug it out, it came in 2 halves. Yay, M1. It came in 2 halves, top half and bottom half. Well, I stuck them back together, put a little bit of glue to hold them in place, but it's still, it'll snap in half if you handle it the wrong way. So please, if you're gonna handle it, I need your word that you're gonna be careful with it, and no one is to touch this thing when I'm not in attendance."
Once again, I'm just here to take pictures. I don't need, unless someone wants to move into a better spot of light, I don't need to touch it at all.
He looks specifically at Anime, and he says, "Is that understood, ma'am?"
Well,
She just smiles and nods. It says, "Yes'm," as he leads you into his personal tent, and he gestures towards the wooden table, and there are 4 foldable plastic chairs arranged around it, a single kerosene lantern, and a map of Rockport laid out over the table. He says, take a seat. I've got the idol locked up in my footlocker. I'll be with you in a sec. He turns his back to you, heads over to his cot, and begins to lean over a metal footlocker at the head of it. While you wait for him to retrieve the idol, is there anything you would like to do, or do you all just take your seats around his table?
Do you have any relics in his tent that he's just laying around?
You may make a spot hidden check if you like.
May as well.
Anna may make one too.
I might just polish the camera and get it ready, because it's obviously the
Yep,
big thing
polish the
everyone's
camera.
talking about.
Archibald, you can make a spot
see
hidden check as well.
Everything. I got a 5, so that's an extreme pass.
Yep.
All your secrets belong to me.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
Yep, hard pass. So you see that near his cot there is a. You see next to his cot there is a wooden crate, and he's just left lying on it a piece of paper and several artifacts. These artifacts appear to be more intact versions of the strange arrowheads you saw at the dig site. These appear to be complete arrows, and now you can definitely tell they're not Viking arrows, as they're not just stone arrowheads attached to a wooden arrow. Indeed, these appear to be arrows entirely made of stone, each one about 20 centimeters long, which is at least double the size of an ordinary arrow.
Yeah, that's just something.
That's interesting.
I'm in the same room as them.
Yes, you are, yep.
Can I do a survival check on those arrowheads to see if I identify it with any of my own exploratory knowledge?
Yes. You may make a survival check if you like.
That's good.
Awesome. That is a hard pass.
So you look at the arrowheads and you determine that they would be very ineffective for hunting, as the size of them would cause severe damage to anything they hit. If they're fired with the same velocity that a normal arrow would be fired, upon hitting something such as a deer or a small woodland animal, they would be more likely to eviscerate it than have a clean kill. These arrows, therefore, seem to be used specifically for combat rather than hunting, and they seem to be, in your opinion, a weapon that is specifically designed to damage or kill an opponent. Myra, since you passed your spot hidden check, would you like to do a natural world check?
I would. That is a normal pass.
You pick up one of the arrows and try to study it and see if you can identify what kind of stone it's made out of. And your first thought is granite, as this is what Rockport is famous for. There is a granite... That's okay, Kitty. Just have your phone so you can hear what's going on. There is a granite quarry here in Rockport, and so there are many granite deposits in this area, but no, the arrows appear to be made of a type of stone that is not native to this area. Rather, examining the stone in close detail makes you think that it's related to a type of onyx that may be found in the Arctic regions of the Earth.
In the Arctic regions of the Earth?
Yes. As such as it is
is...
It is extremely out of place for it to be here.
Well, now this is just very interesting.
I'm guessing you're telling everyone else that as well?
Well, I muttered a very interesting comment to myself, and then I turn around and go, this is, from the Arctic.
Wait, as in, like, the South Pole? Like, you know, like Santa Claus and all that?
Well, Santa Claus is the North Pole, isn't he? The South Pole would be the one where the rock is found, yes.
So we have Viking arrows with pictures of Bigfoot that come from the South Pole.
Well,
Or the
yeah,
North
yes.
Pole, says Anime.
I mean, or the North Pole. I don't know. I ain't no. Look, I ain't the smartest tool in the shed when it comes to this sort of stuff. I'm just looking for a damn scoop. It's just the damnedest thing. Now I might be having. I'll write it down, but I don't know how long that's gonna stay in the notes. I don't think my publisher is gonna be too interested in mystical arrows that came halfway across the world just to wind up in. We are still like it's
Yeah, Rockport's only only a short train ride from Arkham, so...
Okay, so it's still in Massachusetts.
Yeah, you're still in Massachusetts.
Yeah, just checking.
Typical news companies can't. Don't worry about the finer details, only get the big things. Lead to quick speculation.
Finally, Anime, who also passed her spot hidden roll, is just perusing the piece of paper on the edge of the crate. And she discovers that it appears to be a catalogue of all of the relics that have been found so far. Each one with a designation, a tag of numbers and letters. Probably telling you that that's what is contained within those crates in the other tent. Those are relics that have been catalogued and stored away. Interesting, she says as she points at the piece of paper. Take a look at this. She hands you the piece of paper, and you look down the list of artifacts, and you notice that by far the most prominent type of artifact that's been dug up is shards of blades and knives, similar to the one you saw at the dig site. What you first thought to be a blade of iron, however, according to this catalogue, is made of silver.
Huh?
She's going to make an archaeology check. She's going to push that. She says, there's enough shards here to easily make up, if we're talking ordinary size Viking swords, at least 6 or 7 silver blades.
Wait, so now we've got. Wait, what the heck were they hunting? Werewolves? This makes less and less sense as we go along, but hey, I mean, if it's on the catalog, that's what they had. I mean, yeah, Vikings are going around with that sort of stuff.
You hear the sound of metal creaking, and Professor Manning says, here it is. Then you all take your seats around the table. Would you like to keep this catalogue of relics, or will you return it to its spot on the wooden crate?
I mean, I'm fairly certain he's going to notice if that goes missing, isn't he?
Well, yeah, it's just by his cot, so...
Yeah.
That said, he might not notice immediately. It might take him a few hours.
Yeah, but does anyone...
Because
really
the day is wrapping up. Like, there's going to be dinner, and then everyone's probably going to go to bed, so... He's not going to be cataloguing any more artifacts today.
If I sit here and make a note of... Just scribble down notes of what was on there, or the more important stuff that's on there, we don't need to take it, basically.
That's fine, Kitty. Okay, please make an own language check to scribble down in readable notes.
It's a 45, so that's a pass. So if you ask, I'll just basically say that I'm just taking notes for the
Yep.
The publicist.
Professor Manning has a huge smile on his face. He carries in his hand a small wooden box, places the wooden box down on the table, flips open a latch on the front, and then opens the lid. He reaches inside with 2 hands and produces the idol, which he places in the center of the table. I'm going to place it in Discord so you may see what it looks like.
So that'll be fun. Oh! Yeah, Mike's gonna take one look at that and go, okay,
Oh.
I get what the other guy was talking about now. That thing is creepy as heck. Hmm?
About 30 centimeters tall and weighing about 5 kilos, the statue depicts what seems to be a human figure with a squat body and a bulbous head. Professor Manning has temporarily joined the two halves of the statue together with glue and plaster, making it easier for you to examine. But you could see that there is a rather large crack between the top and bottom halves of the statue, and it was torn asunder by some great force. Furthermore, the face appears to have once held more detail, but any detail that was present on the face, or indeed the body, has been scraped off, leaving only the outlines of the eyes, nose, and mouth. Professor Manning sighs and he says, not quite a looker, is she?
Hmm.
He
I
says,
feel a connection.
he says, now, here's what I'm interested in. He grabs the statue and flips it over, revealing revealing a strange glyph and runes carved into the back.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
The glyph takes pride of place in the very center of the back of the thing's head, and the runes begin and end at the glyph.
Nah.
Is that Norse runes?
You identify them as some particularly archaic variant of Norse.
Can I either one, do a Norse check to try and read the Norse runes, or two, do an occult check to see if I recognize the
Yep.
weird symbol?
So you may do an occult check first,
Yep.
because Archibald can also do a Norse check.
That is a hard pass for the occult.
You stare at the glyph, and you can tell it is definitely of Norse design. The glyph appears to be a stave, a component of Old Norse magic, essentially like a magic circle that acts as a focus for some kind of spell.
Okay.
I will have Anime do an archaeology check. I'll do that for you, Kitty, because you're lying down. I don't want you to have to get dice. That's a 40. So that's a pass, I think. Let me just check your sheet.
Seems we have a magic item here.
Yes.
Wait. Considering how well I've reacted to everything else so far, we're just going to continue with that trope of, and now it's magic.
Yep, that is a pass for Anime. So Anime, you determined that the idol is Mycenaean or Minoan in design, and it's not 4,000 years old, but it is nearly 4,000 years old. It dates from about 1,500 BC. The runes look typically Norse in a pre-Christian style, and that's the weird thing about it, as the idol being of Minoan design would have originated somewhere around Greece or the Mediterranean, nowhere near Scandinavia, and you cannot think of why it would be found in a Viking village.
This one don't make no lick of sense.
What would other people like to do with it?
I mean, take your time.
Yep, you want to.
Ooh.
Mike, do you have appraise?
That is a good question. Let me have a looky. Appraise. You know what? It's weird. I definitely do not.
Okay,
I
that's
have
fine.
a very low appraise, like I put some points into it.
Yep.
Most of my stuff involves looking at stuff and talking to stuff.
Alright, well, I would
But no appraise.
first...
Go figure.
You could also possibly attempt a natural world check on it to see if you could figure out if it's made from the same stuff as the arrowheads.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's a 34, which is a normal pass.
So, Myra, you run your hand over the top of the statue, and you determine it seems to be constructed of the same kind of material that the arrows are, adding to the mystery of this object. If it's from the Mediterranean Sea, why is it constructed out of something from the Arctic? In either case, you determine that the rock is very hard, and someone went to a lot of effort to deface it. Someone else went to even more effort to break it in two. It would not have been easy to tear in half.
Well, Mark, it seems it's not just a magic now, it's a magic Arctic thing.
Look, can I just get a picture of this already? Because the more you look at this thing, the weirder this gets.
Go ahead, make a photography check.
Wouldn't the weirdest picture be the best picture for you?
I mean, yeah, I still have to try and explain this to the guys back at work, but that is a 19 on that picture check, which is just shy of an extreme, so we'll take a nice hard pass.
Nice hard pass, yep. You snap a photo of the statue and the glyph and the runes. Professor Manning smiles and he says, I've attempted to transcribe and translate these runes, but Old Norse is not my area of expertise. Archibald, this happens to be your area of expertise. Would you like to attempt to translate the runes?
And I help him with that, like
yes,
give him advantage.
Yep. So he may roll his Norse with advantage, as both he and Myra translate the runes.
Well, that would be a pass.
That's a pass, yeah, that's a pass already, so... Because his Norse is 50, so
That's a pass.
that's a pass. So...
May as well roll the second one to see though if we get a...
Oh yeah, may as well roll it to see if
something.
you get a better pass, because you might get a more accurate translation.
I mean, at this point, we can only do better.
Yes.
Go for broke.
M1, do you want to roll
M1,
again?
M1 roll again, because we'll see if we can get better, so you get a more accurate translation.
Or is his internet?
Oh,
Oh,
I'll do
yeah.
it. I'll roll for him.
Yeah.
Oh no, there we go. Nah, okay,
No, there we
well,
go.
still a pass.
Yep, normal pass.
So, despite the obvious
I can't
age...
get in, but my internet's...
Ah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Despite
fair
the
enough.
obvious age of this artifact, the runes are in very good condition and are easy to decipher. And so you spend the next few minutes transcribing the runes into their transliterations. I'll put that in Discord.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, that's... Yep, that makes so much more sense. Thank you for this.
And then...
Over, Rachadi.
Sekunid Marmanil, Swada Drauga.
Oh, Joker! There's zombies involved. It seems there's zombies involved.
Oh, for God's sake, just first the camera leaves the tent, never comes back into the campaign. I'm out, fuck all this.
So you
Let's see if we can do it 2 campaigns in a row.
So you read the runes out loud and then translate them into English for the benefit of everybody else present. And they translate as such. Snowy mountain, storm-racked sea, Viking's path. Marin Mill, Thurs, Sailor's Bane. Draugr Wake, come and fight. Strike and slay, Viking's foe.
I mean, that sounds awful pretty, but what does that actually mean?
So, you recognize a number of terms, you recognize a number of words in this Norse carving. The first, Thurs, is a word that translates roughly to troll or demon, malevolent creature that hunts and kills humans. Marmanil translates as men of the sea or mermen. However, in Norse mythology, mermen can also live on dry land as they are a type of demon, making them overlap somewhat with the Thurs. Draugr is plural and roughly means slow ones. Myra, you may make an occult check.
Okay, let's see if I can understand any of this. Apparently arcane, because that is a hard pass.
So,
Damn.
in Norse mythology, a Draugr is an undead creature, an animated corpse with blue or ghost-white skin, bidden to guard treasure or perform some specific duty. You try to think on the other terms, Marmanil and Thurs, and these terms are specifically quite vague. There isn't a lot in Norse mythology that provides a clear description of either creature, other than saying that they are enemies of mankind. Despite this, there are accounts of men occasionally laying with these creatures and creating Thors, and creating horrible offspring. The only thing you know for sure about Thors is that it can mean either troll or demon, and in the troll context, these creatures would often come into combat with the god Thor, who would use lightning and electricity to drive them away.
Damn.
That's... Okay. Seems we've got a myriad of mythical beasts, such as zombies and trolls and demons.
So, I assume that either Archibald or Myra is holding the idol, as you are the ones to translate it.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
Yep. So, I'd say, yeah, Archibald's holding it in his hands. And Archibald, as Myra tells the rest about these terms, the Draugr and the Thors, you feel the statue grow cold to the touch, so cold that you nearly gasp and drop it, but you manage to keep it gripped in your hands. Everyone else hears you cry out, and they look over, and I'd like everyone to make a spot hidden check, please.
see, now that I can do. That's a hard pass, just.
That is a normal pass.
Normal pass.
I'm getting decent rolls today, but
Do
Watch
one for
me.
anime.
fuck up my sen.
I know, you and I both are just sitting here going, my passes are really good, I'm gonna die.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's a group pass.
Yeah.
You look at the statue, and you notice that the two halves are no longer pasted together. It is whole. There is no sign of the join between the two pieces. Make sand checks, please.
There we go.
And so it begins. Where's my-
Yeah, and there we go. I failed.
Anime
I
passed.
passed by a country mile because my boy, despite being as strong as a friggin' dry twig in the wind, has sanity for absolute days.
So
I
for
have insanity. I still failed.
a pass, that is a san loss of 1. For a fail, that is a san loss of 1d3.
1d3. Well, seeing as we have Discord available, I'm going to. I lost
Yep, so that's a
2.
fail for M1, so that's 1d3 san loss for you, Archibald.
I feel like my guy's literally only passing because he has no idea what any of this crap is.
1, so you're 1, yep.
But he doesn't believe in it at all, so he's just like,
I got
yeah,
no idea what any of
but
this crap is.
he
Okay.
does think, yeah, something's weird. The statue is somehow
Statue
reformed.
fixing itself is that's a new one.
I would now like everybody to do a power check, please.
Oh.
Okay.
okay.
That's
I
a
mean,
pass
that's
for anime.
That's a hard pass.
Okay.
That's a fail again!
That's a
Oh,
fail.
no. You're off to the
Oh, Mira, I liked you because you're the only character I've ever had that's had an accent, but you're gonna die.
You know
So,
that just
was that a
scares
fail
probably.
for Archibald?
So, that is
So,
a fail for Archibald.
yep,
Okay, what's your
and
roll?
Mike, how did you go?
Oh, I got a hard pass.
You got a hard
Like,
pass?
The boy's got power.
So,
You got the power.
Mike and Anime, you just look on as Archibald and Myra grow pale and waver on the spot as a strange dizzy spell overcomes both of you, and all of your MP except for 1 is expended.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, did that thing just absorb freaking energy out of us?
I'd
Oh, you
also
guys anyway?
like you to please roll 1d6, both of you.
E6, okay. That was a 2.
It was a 2. And how did 1d6? I'll roll 1 for Archibald. 5. Okay, so Archibald got 5, Myra got 2. Your POW is decreased by that much.
Oh,
And
fuck.
as the
Wow,
other
I like
2
that.
look on, you see Myra and Archibald clutch their hands to their noses, which have begun to bleed profusely.
What the?
Don't have much. Don't take any more.
Okay, this is
An explorer wasn't cut out for this.
Hey, you guys okay?
What would you like to do?
I'm just trying to figure what the hell just happened. Like,
Yeah, you. So Mike.
No more reading. No more reading from the thing. I think that's enough for today.
Before you have a
Yeah.
chance to do anything else, you hear a scream of utter terror coming from outside the tent.
what the hell's going on now?
The professor just raises his hands in the air and he says, "Oh, blasted. The men from the lumber mill are disturbing the dig again." He says, "Well, you're with the paper. Let's deal with this." He doesn't appear to have noticed the statue reforming, or indeed have noticed Myra or Archibald's nosebleeds at all. And he makes his way quickly to the front of the tent, opens the flap, and steps outside into the dusk of near night. And as soon as the flap shuts behind him, you hear him call out, "What on earth?"
Alright, I'll take
Oh,
camera
I
and hand
guess-
and get my ass out there.
We should go see what this was.
That
Oh.
doesn't sound like no lumberjack I ever heard of.
So you're going to exit the tent? Is there anything you'd like to do before you exit?
I mean, part of me wants to see if any, well, I'm not going to know anything about the statue, so I'm not going to be able to check to see if anything's changed, because, my guy's not interested in any of that crap, so... I'm just going where the action is.
Well, you could still pick it up and look at it.
I ain't touching the damn thing. I was just going to, roll it over with my foot.
Well, I mean, you can if you want. You roll it over with the tip of your...
I was actually going to say, with my camera, I have a tripod attached to that, right?
You do.
I'm just going to use the edge of the tripod to just sort of roll it over a little bit to see what the deal is.
You tap the statue with the tip of your tripod and roll it over. And to your mounting horror, you see that the glyph on the back of it is gone. Please make a sand check.
Yep, fair enough. That's a 76, but thankfully that's a pass at this point.
Yep, so that'll be a sand loss of 1.
Outstanding. We're just going to chip away at it like we did last time.
So I suppose as you all leave the tent, Archibald, you're pressing both of your hands down on your pith helmet and pressing it to cover your face, keeping it firm on your head. As I was told that he was that his pith helmet was his prized possession. Anyone else doing anything before you leave?
I'm looking for a handkerchief or a cloth or something to wipe my nose.
Yep.
I feel like you would have had one of those just on you. It seems like...
Yeah, he probably would.
It's eccentric rich lady would just have in spades just all the time.
Anime
I'm in a sundress. I'm not in something that has
just
pockets.
reaches into a breast pocket and she hands you a white and yellow spotted handkerchief and she says, "Here."
Oh, well, thank you.
And then, as Archibald presses the pith helmet tight down on his head, you step out of the tent into the dusk outside. A semicircle of twisted, feral-looking men and women approach the tent. Some of them are dressed in tatters of Puritan-style clothing. Some of them are naked. Their leathery skins are either a deep blue or a ghostly white, and their dead eyes are like glowing coals set in sunken faces. They lean forward as they shuffle, mouths agape, gasping for air. Make sand checks, please.
Dear Mark, I think these are the Draugr that you so eloquently put as don't exist.
Make sand checks, please.
That's probably why I failed that sand check.
I failed as well, because, of course, as soon as you say sand, my rolls do dog shit.
That's a pass for M1. I'll
Yeah,
move on
just
to anime.
Literally just gone from 5 minutes ago going, nah, this is some weird magic and stuff don't exist. Oh, what the hell?
That's a critical fail for anime. So,
oh no.
So, okay, as you see these terrifying
Pass for
creatures that's a pass for Archibald, yes it is. As you see these terrifying creatures slowly shuffle out from the vicinity of the colonial graveyard towards the work tents, climbing out of the ditch and gasping for breath, your hearts leap into your mouth, beating, boof, 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 boof. The professor sits beside you on the floor, just slowly squirming backwards towards the tent, his eyes wide, fixated upon these creatures, his bottom lip trembling. For those of you who failed the sand check, it will be a loss of 1d6 plus 2.
1d... What?
God!
Oh, cool, I rolled a 1.
A 1
Yay,
plus 2, so
even
that's
one.
I
3.
rolled a 5, so I've lost
Oh, Jesus, you've gone
So that's
up,
7.
you gone.
And for
Oh,
those of you
bye-bye.
who passed, it is a sand loss of 2.
Well, bye, Myra.
Jesus Christ. Good thing I had a high power to start with,
Ooh,
so...
and that is 8
same.
sand loss for anime as well.
Can you repeat the last one?
I mean...
This is gonna go swimmingly.
So go ahead, I'd
What?
like Myra to do a intelligence check.
Myra?
Yep, because you
Yeah.
got more than 5 san.
Oh, right, yep, okay.
Here it comes.
Hey, that's a fail.
That's a fail, so you are
Hey.
not temporarily insane. Instead,
Hey.
you are terrified, and your mind immediately flashes back to that night in the wilds of Canada. You and your husband being awoken in the dead of night by rustling in the trees. Horrifying creatures leaping out of the darkness towards you, too fast for you to get a good look. Your husband being torn asunder before your eyes, his arms being ripped out of their sockets. One of the creatures leaping towards you, digging its nails into your right cheek and searing pain before blacking out.
Not again! Not again!
Meanwhile, beside you, Anna May passes her intelligence check. She takes
dear.
one look at the creatures advancing and does what any Southern Belle would do in this situation. She says, "Oh, I do believe I have a case of the vapors," and sinks into a dead faint into Mike Moxley's arms.
What the? No, I How am I supposed to take a picture of these things? Nah. I was gonna say, I feel like that's supposed to be, yes, I definitely pick her up, but with her size and my strength, it's more like,
Yeah.
I'm just now underneath her going,
It's more like
jeez.
she falls into your arms and you groan and struggle and then slowly lower her to the ground because there's no way you could hold her up.
Okay.
And
Well, I
so
have time to try and take a picture of this.
you can try if you want. It'll be with disadvantage if you try to take a
Yeah,
picture.
that doesn't surprise me at all whatsoever. Okay, that one was fine. And no, wow, I rolled a 47 and a 9, so the 47's a pass.
But-
I mean, it's still gonna be a hazy ass. This is gonna be like
Yeah.
a Loch Ness.
You scramble
Holy
to
shit.
set up your tripod and attach the camera to it and point it in the direction of the shuffling corpses, and you pull the cord, the bulb on the camera flashes, and all of the creatures for a moment turn their heads to stare in the direction of you and the camera. But then, after their gaze lingers on you and the camera for about a single second, their heads turn away. They turn away from you and begin to shuffle outwards towards the mess tent. I'd like you all to make spot hidden checks, please, as these creatures slowly begin to shuffle away from you and Anna May lies unconscious on the ground.
Well, I passed mine.
That's a pass by 1.
Nice.
And that's a pass for Archibald.
It's a pass.
Beyond the semicircle of creatures, you see what they are moving towards. Lying just outside the mess tent, Alton King, writhing beneath an unnaturally huge Draugr, at least 9 or 10 feet tall, which has pinned him to the ground, slowly crushing him. With a sickening crunch, Alton's ribs collapse under the weight of this huge creature, and with an unearthly moan, he dies. Send checks, please.
Oh wow, you're going after us right off the bat. This is insane. Also, I passed, so seeing zombies.
I passed that one, bitch.
Yep.
Seeing zombies. Oh god, this is terrifying. Seeing a dude get literally stumped and be crushed to death. Okay.
So for a pass, that is a san
That's
loss
gonna be
of
a
1.
D6.
For a fail, it's a san loss of 1d3.
Don't need those ones.
Just want to ask, when you're doing a description such as that, can we interrupt you to try and make an action to save someone before you finish the...
Well, in this case, you wouldn't have had time. I would have...
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I think it's
okay.
too far away for that one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just want to check, because in the last campaign there were people that we could have saved,
Yeah.
apparently. And
Yeah,
I
but
just
that's-
don't know whether we can interrupt
Well,
the
if
description
you-
of what's happening.
So when I finish a description, you can ask, can we do anything to stop that if you want?
Okay.
You
Okay.
have to pass a sand
Yeah.
check first, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But,
Okay, no, just wanted to check.
after Alton King breathes his final breath, the remaining Draugr disperse. The semicircle breaks up, and they begin to shuffle out of the dig site, completely ignoring you and all members of the Miskatonic dig crew, instead shuffling out of the field onto the dirt road that leads towards town, and slowly moving as a single mass towards the ramshackle buildings in the distance, the pinpricks of light beginning to turn on as night falls.
That's, look, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what the hell's going on, but them heading towards a town isn't a good thing, is it?
No.
Who got crushed?
Alton King,
guy-
the big
guy who
hairy
found
guy.
The statue. The big guy who found the
Yeah,
statue.
guy found the statue.
So the guy that we were literally just talking to.
Yep.
Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah. He's
Okay.
he's dead.
Okay, yeah, cool.
As the creatures slowly make their way towards the town, most of the diggers congregate on the edge of the campsite watching them, though Harriet and Professor Manning, both obviously distraught, make their way over to Alton's body and begin to kneel over it. What would you like to do?
Well, I don't believe me taking a picture of his body is going to do anyone any favors, so I might try and see if I can rouse Anna and see if she's going to wake up.
Yep. I would like you to please make a first aid check.
Ah, shit. I got no first aid. Okay. This will be entertaining. No, that's a fail. My idea of quote-unquote first aid is me just sort of just slapping the side of her,
Yeah.
politely going, come on,
You're just
hello?
slapping her cheeks and going,
Yeah.
hey, lady, come on, come on.
You in there? No. Just look at the rest going, yeah, she's out like a light, guys.
She groans a little bit and stirs, but does not wake up. And so you call over one of the other diggers, and the two of you hoist her up and carry her into one of the tents and lay her down on the cot. Meanwhile, what do the other two of you do? Sorry, Kitty, this is my way of taking your
not
character
dying?
out of things so she doesn't die.
So the Draugr are heading towards the town, did you say?
Yes.
Yes.
At a very slow rate.
They're very slowly getting away.
What's the town? Where would they be heading towards? I turn to anybody nearby and ask, I've forgotten his name again.
Alton.
Alton. Was anyone with him when he made the first discovery?
Harriet, who is clearly distraught and hyperventilating, says, no, he was on his own. He dug it up on his own. We helped him get it out of there. The professor catalogued it, but... how could this happen? What are those things?
Where's the professor?
The professor is kneeling by the corpse of Alton, and he's just muttering to himself, how can this be real? What have we done? What have we done? Over and over.
That's a good question, Doc. I was kind of hoping someone could tell me. We show up for a nice picture of some statues, some histories, and now there's a horde of whatever the hell those things are heading to town.
Were there any other artifacts that you're keeping in the town?
She looks at you and she says, no. The professor wouldn't let any of the artifacts into town. He wanted them all here so they could be catalogued in one place.
Right,
Oh no. Maybe there's more ruins somewhere closer to town. We,
I mean, wait, the Draugr are not the Vikings themselves, but something the Vikings were.
No,
the
in fact,
Draugr are created to protect something or serve a specific purpose.
I'd
Okay.
like you, Mike, to make an idea check, please.
Huh. All Mike to the rescue, huh? Oh wow, that's exactly a hard pass. 40 out of 80.
So, you look in the direction that the Draugr came from, the half-buried colonial grave site, and you can now see at least 100 graves are now empty.
Okay.
It seems likely, as these Draugr are colonial settlers, that they're not related to the Vikings at all, but rather whatever the idol did has just reanimated whatever corpses were nearby and tasked them with whatever it is they're now setting out to do.
Well, I will probably pass that on to the others going... do we even have a way of finding out what they're doing? I mean, if they've been tasked with some mystical order or something, and we gotta figure out what they're here for.
What was the translation on the tablet again?
The translation was: Snowy mountains, storm-racked sea, Viking's path. Marin Mill, Thor's, Viking's bane. Draugr wake, come and fight, strike and slay the Viking's foe. As you ponder this, Harriet just collapses over Alton's crushed body and begins to cry. And she says, I just can't believe it. Alton's family have lived here for generations. He's a pillar of this community. How could he just die like that?
Wait. These guys were colonial settlers, yeah?
The Draugr appear to be, yes.
And they immediately went after someone who's been here for generations, right?
That's correct.
Oh no.
I mean, just a pitch here. What if they're going after the rest of his family?
Yeah. We need to... Does he have extra family in this town?
She says... She shakes her head and she says, he was the last one left. He had the blood of the mountains in his veins, as folk around here would say.
There's the mountain part.
And then she breaks down, weeping.
Are there any people that are described as having the rage of the sea in them?
I'd like you to make a persuade check, please, to try to get her to talk to you in her clearly distraught state.
Or I do a fast talk instead?
Oh, yep,
I was
fast.
gonna say, I can do that if you want.
If you have psychology, you can use that. That would be the ideal thing to use.
No, I already have 10, because that's the base.
Roll it anyway.
I got fast talk.
I've got fast talk as well. I got 17. I can't afford to spend 7 luck, though.
How much luck do you have?
25.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, you're pretty much guaranteed to get some back after this episode.
Yeah, I know, but...
Wow. How'd you start with that little luck?
Yeah, it was a
very
bad
bad
roll.
rolls. Yeah,
Okay,
fuck
cool.
it, I'll spend 7 luck, and fuck it.
You
At this point, it's
kneel
getting
down
desperate.
next to her, place a hand on her shoulder, and tell her to look at your face. And she looks at your face, tears rolling down her cheeks, and you say, there is something out there, it is dangerous, it is going to kill, and if we know who it's going to kill, we have a chance to stop it. She takes a deep breath, and she says, well, you know, there's been stories that have been passed down in Rockport for generations, stories of children who were the offspring of mermaids and mermen or mountain people. Been around for generations. Say, maybe a third of the town have these stories connected with their families, but most of us are still relative newcomers. My family, for example, we only moved here 20 years ago. I don't see how this could have anything to do with... Oh God, and then she starts weeping again, burying her face in Alton's chest.
Okay, so a good portion of the people that live in the town have these stories connected to them, which means if these guys were brought back to kill, like, they only killed the one guy that actually lives here in the town. Everyone else at the dig site came from elsewhere.
Including, well, there was Harriet, she lives in the town, but
you're cutting off the original settlers.
Yeah, the original settlers, or like descendants of the original settlers.
Or
Harriet, darling, Harriet, we need you to take us to all of the original, to the houses of anybody who's descended from the original settlers here, darling.
She looks up at you and she nods, wiping tears out of her eyes. She says, I'm gonna go get the truck ready. If there's anything left here at camp that you think might help, please, bring it along. And then she runs off into the setting darkness towards the blue truck on the edge of the campsite. I'd like both of you to make idea checks, please.
Yeah, that's a pass.
That's... oh shit, that is a hard pass, 2 off being an extreme pass, damn it.
You remember elements of the dig, the celebration of a victory over some enemy, the depictions of warriors fighting huge, hairy creatures, the strange arrowheads. It's possible that they may not be going after the original settlers of the town, but rather they may be going after those who are descended from the creatures that the Vikings fought.
Well, but that might mean that the Vikings and the creatures made peace at some point.
Or at the very least, the Vikings were able to drive them away, or, more likely, knowing that the settlement here was extremely short-lived, the creatures drove the Vikings back across the sea.
That doesn't help at all. Oh. What we really need is some way to stop these creatures.
You also remember that when the statue was found, it was in 2 halves.
Well, Archibald, how strong are you feeling today?
How strong you feeling, Archibald? Archibald just cracks his knuckles together and says, well, it depends. Fighting monsters, maybe not. Some acrobatics and exploration. You got your pith helmet on, don't you, Archibald?
How do you potentially feel about breaking a priceless artifact?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. That's okay.
How do you feel about breaking a priceless artifact again?
So, Archibald, would you like to make an attempt to break the statue in half once again? I'd love to break some artifacts, Archibald says as he claps his hand on his pith helmet. And he heads off on a brisk stroll towards the professor's tent where the idol still lies on the table. And as you enter, you notice it's changed colour slightly. It started to glow a soft, whitish tinge, and you can see what appear to be tiny glimmers of ice clinging to its surface. And so, Archibald, the statue M2, and so Archibald, as you pick up the statue, I'd like you to make a power check, please. That's a pass. You pick up the statue, which is freezing cold in your hands. It's like you've grabbed hold of a big chunk of ice, and it almost burns into your skin, dealing 1 point of damage to you. Now, you must attempt to break it. Please make an extreme strength check. Or if you'd like, you may make a hard fighting brawl check. Depending on what's higher. Just going to open his sheet for myself so I can expedite this.
Dear. Friends of Dungeons & Dragons can happily donate money at any point to try and help us get better internet for our friends.
Yes.
Terrible.
You didn't roll very well. Yeah, I see.
That's 7 seconds at a delay.
Yeah, so let's see. Your fighting brawl is
so
only
what are we
25.
rolling?
So you're trying to get either a hard fighting brawl, which would be 12, or an extreme strength, which would be 13.
And Mira, go and grab one of the arrows that's one of the good condition arrows out of the tent and attempt to help him.
Yep, so you may roll with advantage in that case. Yep, that's a fail on his part. He groans and tries to snap the thing apart, but it will not give. And then he shrieks, "Ah!" as the cold bites into his hands and he drops the statue on the floor. Myra, you approach with one of the intact arrows and slam it down onto the idol. Please make a... What is your fighting brawl?
50.
Please make a hard fighting brawl check.
I'd love to help out in this situation, but I got nothing for that.
Is this technically combat?
No, it's not combat. You
So can I push that?
You can.
Good thing, too.
Ha! That's... Oh shit, that's a critical pass. Like, that's a 1. I got a 1.
You slam the heavy arrowhead down into the idol, making a crack form just beneath its head. It glows brighter and brighter, and cold begins to fill the room, and then with a sickening earth-splitting crack, a wave of white energy is expelled out from the idol. I would like all of you to make dodge checks, please.
Jeez, hit the dodge!
Dodge!
Do I have dodge? Yeah, it's not great, but holy crap, that's a 1! I pretty much have just somehow dove into a fucking trench that appeared out of nowhere.
Yep.
I stand there and fling my arms wide open, trying to catch.
Come and get me,
Wait.
bitch!
Yeah, I've got an 88.
Yep. And and how did Archibald go? He needs a 40 to pass, which I will do. D100. That's a pass for Archibald. So, Archibald and Mike, you leap out of the way, scrambling out of this tiny tent, while Myra stands there holding out her hands as if trying to block this wave of energy with her bare hands, and she is blasted off her feet, flung out of the tent, and takes 1 point of damage as she lands in the dirt.
You okay there, lady?
Oh, I've been through worse, trust me.
You climb to your feet and tentatively make your way back into the tent where the idol lies on the floor, and your heart sink as you notice that the tiny crack that Myra made is now gone.
Hell?
Oh, ain't that just fucking dandy.
It appears that if you're going to destroy it, more significant force will be required.
Any of you hillbillies got some fucking dynamite?
Jesus, what's your language? God.
I'll suck it up.
However, from that experience, Myra, you may make an occult check.
Dead things going back to life. We got statues that repair themselves. This is.
That is a normal pass.
I don't know how I'm gonna get any of this back to my publicist.
So based on how the statue attacked you, for want of a better word, when you tried to destroy it, almost as if it's protecting itself, you remember that in occult circles, it is said that spells bound to artifacts can often be broken by destroying the artifact. In this case, however, the artifact is incredibly resistant to damage and will not allow just anyone to break it.
Well, that's fun. So
Oh,
we gotta go
Archibald
find
was-
somewhere. Okay.
Archibald was holding it when it was activated, and he can't break it. I read it out when it activated, and I can't break it. Oh, are there any of the? Is there anybody that's related to the Vikings that live in this town?
Harriet looks at you and she says, I can't say. For all we know, this Viking settlement was only here for a few days or weeks before the Vikings were driven away. It's unlikely they had any chance to establish themselves. Outside the tent, you hear Professor Manning just say, "Here, here, the break of a fucking career."
Well, he's clearly gonna be no help.
You do remember that there is a map of Rockport lying on the table.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and where X marks the spot?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I can't.
Club, Stoneworks, Natural Spring.
Oh,
You can ask
The
for idea checks if you're not sure.
Yeah, I'm.
I want to go to the natural spring just because it's the most out there.
Well, I rolled a 6, so what the hell you got for me, boss?
So, if you're looking to destroy the artifact, you think, studying the map, the place where you would probably do it is at the stoneworks, which would have heavy machinery for cutting and preparing stone dug out of the quarry.
See, this is what I get for trying to think too much into this. I should have been looking for the big thing goes smash option.
That might be the
Okay.
solution here. Maybe the solution here is big thing goes smash.
Okay, well, I mean, Stoneworks have got to have, big machineries. Hell, maybe they got dynamite. I mean, gotta do something to smash all those rocks.
What?
Well, I don't have a better idea, so
No,
Harriet, I think you may need to take us to the stoneworks.
She nods, and as she does so, I would like everyone to make listen checks, please.
Oh God.
I can do that. That's a pass for me. What do my journalistic ears hear
better.
on the wind?
Yep.
Push.
Yep.
Fail.
As Harriet looks at you and says, "Hurry, the truck's ready." As you exit the tent and step out into the now pitch dark, shadowy campsite, you become aware of distant screams and crashing coming from the direction of Rockport.
Dang it, they already
Yep.
get there so quick.
You scramble across the campsite, past the still stunned, speechless diggers who are attending both to Alton's corpse and to Anime, who still lies unconscious in the accommodation tent. And you run to the blue pickup truck with the Mason Stoneworks logo branded on the door. Harriet pulls the driver's side door open, turns the key in the ignition, and as the engine roars to life, you scramble into the cab, with only Mike being left in the tray this time.
No, it's fine. I like being in the back. This is fine.
Harriet slams her foot on the pedal and the car roars down the dirt road towards the town. I need Mike to make a dex check, please.
Oh, that's a fail.
You are jostled forwards by the speed at which the car is going, and I'd like you to make a luck check.
Oh, goody. Where's me luck at? Nope, this is gonna hurt a bit.
As you are thrown backwards in the tray, you lose grip of your tripod and drop it over the side of the tray, and you watch as your camera shatters to pieces on the dirt road and is
a bitch.
quickly swallowed up in darkness.
Great. Now we got monsters to fight, and hell, I'm probably gonna lose my job. That's gonna come out of my pay. Just not even caring if he's hurt or not. Just sit there mourning. God damn it! No. Well, that's just great.
Fortunately, you have
a bunch of.
Fortunately, you take no damage, but the loss of the camera hurts.
Great. I lost all evidence of everything we've seen here, so now all I have is a bunch of notes and the words of people that probably are either dead or slightly messed up now and probably have no way to back up anything that I tell them. That's great. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna die or I'm gonna lose my job. Great day for me.
Meanwhile, in the cab of the truck, Archibald has just got his hand on his pith helmet, and he looks at Myra and he says, "Good thing I have the trusty helmet, eh?"
Yeah, I guess, love. Whatever does it for you.
The trip from the dig site back into town takes about 3 minutes, with Harriet driving her truck full pelt, which for the 1920s is like, what, 40 k's an hour?
Hey,
probably.
Ain't pointless to him.
As the truck rolls into the main street of Rockport, you hear screams and crashing sounds coming from nearby houses and businesses. You can't see what's happening. It is nighttime now. Darkness has fully fallen, and the only thing to illuminate the streets ahead of you are the street lamps, the ones that people have bothered to light anyway. Each of them scattered about 10 to 20 feet apart, and a couple of houses and businesses that still have their front lights on. You drive down the main street, and at various points you see the Draugr pounding on the front windows and doors of buildings. As your car drives past, they briefly stop and turn to watch you go by, but then return back to banging on the fronts of the buildings.
Gee, it'd be really great if I could try and take a picture of all this right now.
Take this and this, you hear, as you turn into a side street and see a man in overalls swinging a pickaxe at one of the undead as it shuffles towards him. As he swings his pickaxe to no avail, the Draugr roars, and then with a sickening squish, it almost doubles its size, towering over him, growing to more than 9 feet. It takes a hit from the pickaxe to its midsection with a wet thump. It growls, and then tenses its legs, preparing to lunge onto the man.
Oh, great! And they can grow as well, just in case that day isn't already going to having a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, based on what you saw with Alton's death, this appears to be their main form of attack, growing to large size and crushing their prey.
Grand.
You have a chance to
Fighting
intervene.
and run!
So you're just going to shout, "Run"?
Yeah.
Yep.
Quit fighting and run! We're trying to stop it now.
I'd like you to make a fast talk check, please.
Can I push that?
You can push it.
That's a hard pass.
Hey.
The man stops backing away, swinging his pickaxe. He turns and looks at you, seeing the headlights of your car drawing near. Make a luck check, please, Myra.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, he's dead.
Son of a bitch. I have to beat an 18.
Well,
You pass.
Hey, it
pass.
can happen. An 8.
He nods. He nods. He says, "I'm out of here," and he just throws the pickaxe at the Draugr and turns and runs as the Draugr begins to fall forwards, attempting to pin him under its mass. The man is going to make a dex check. That is he's going to attempt to push that because that is a 99. 65, still a fail. He turns and begins to run towards the entrance of his house, trying to get inside, but then you hear a sickening crunch as the Draugr lands on him, crushing him into paste. I'd like you all to make sand checks, please.
At least you tried. Yeah, that's a big old pass.
Whoa, I got 5. Jesus Christ.
I got 3. I believe I'm too distracted with the morning of my soon-to-be unemployment. And then
Yes. So for a pass... 99. So, Myra and Mike, you lose 1 san. And Archibald, you lose 1d6 san.
Oh, God.
Doing pretty nice.
Oh, thank God. That's a 1. That's good.
That's a 1. I'd like you all to make spot hidden checks, please.
Push it.
Yep, same. Oh, that's a hard pass.
That's a hard pass as well.
3.
You notice that the Draugr, now lying inert, begins to twitch. Its leathery skin begins to bubble and rise, and its body slowly melts away into a dark puddle of ooze, leaving only bones and shreds of clothing behind.
So, once they finish their task, they just go away?
It seems to be.
Well, again, gee, it'd be great if I could have some evidence of this.
Hold
if
on!
we survive this, darling, I'll buy you a damn new camera with a sling and a fucking tripod.
Yeah, it's
Now
not gonna
quit
make
your
a
belly
difference.
aching.
It's not gonna make a damn bit of difference if I'm not gonna have a job to take pictures for.
Hold on, shouts Harriet. I'm gonna cut through the suburbs and get out to the eastern side of town, towards the stoneworks. And with that, she violently turns the wheel. The tires screech as the truck turns almost a 90-degree angle around a corner, lifting up onto its right wheels. I'd like everybody to make dex checks, please.
Oh, no. That's a 16. I'm getting really scared. I keep rolling really well, and at some point it's going to cost me.
Can I push this one?
You may push it. You may push it.
That's a hard pass.
The three of you are jostled around as the car lifts up onto its right wheels. But you grab hold of whatever's in front of you and hang on for dear life. And then, as the tires screech, and the truck thumps back down onto the dirt road, jostling you all forward once again, you are none worse for wear as Harriet slams her feet on the pedal once again and drives at top speed through the suburbs of Rockport. A woman bursts from a house, small child in tow. Behind, a single Draugr lurches after them. The woman stumbles, loses her grip on the small child who runs. The Draugr stops, sniffs the air, and roars, ignoring the fallen woman, and then lopes off after the screaming child, chasing him down the footpath.
Ah, shit. Should probably do something about that.
Harriet, I think we may need to run over this driver. But that might put the kid in danger. Fuck! No, I'm not awake enough to fucking... No, don't do this to me!
You right?
You're just having a minor mental breakdown.
Alright then. I mean, I had one yesterday playing Bobbin, so it's fine. It happens to
Harriet just looks at you, her eyes wide, and she says, "Are you crazy? Run that thing down? What if it goes big and crushes the whole truck?"
Yeah,
And you want the kid to die?
Make a persuade check, please.
Oh fuck.
Well,
I've rolled less than 10 before tonight. Let's hope I can do it again.
that kid's dead.
That's a 3!
Holy crap! The kid's
That not only passes my 10 persuade, that's a hard pass.
Harriet
I was
takes
gonna say,
a
the kid's gonna live, but we might die.
Harriet takes a breath, and she says, "Alright," and she begins to turn the wheel, adjusting the course of the vehicle so that the Drauga is dead ahead. She sighs again and she says, "If anyone else has any other ideas..."
I'm guessing there's nothing here on the truck that we could use.
You may make a luck check.
Oh, why not? This will be fun. Where's my luck? What's it? God damn it! No, can't
You
push.
failed
that
the...
shit.
You can push this one, it's not combat.
Oh. Yeah, no, we got nothing back here except random crap for
The back of the truck is filled with shovels, pickaxes, other pieces of digging equipment, and one of the numbered wooden crates containing catalogued relics. There's a piece of paper pinned to the side of it that just reads, "For Miskatonic University History Department." It appears that this is the first crate of relics that was released from the dig site today.
Oh. Hell, I'm already gonna get fired. Might as well see what's in the crate.
Please make a strength check to wrench it open.
Oh no! If it isn't my worst stat. Oh hell, 34. I'll spend the full luck just to pass that.
Yep. You grab hold of the lid and grunt as you wrench it open. You hear the sound of splintering wood, and then you peer inside the crate and see, carefully preserved and protected in foam molds that have been exactly tailored to their size and shape, 4 shards of silver.
Okay.
The fucking swords were made of silver.
Were they made to fight the damn Drauga?
Or were they made to fight the other enemy?
Ah.
Did those swords even belong to the Viking, or did they belong to the same people that the arrowheads came from?
Well, I've got nothing to lose. Except maybe powering up the Drago.
So what would you like to do?
I'll just yell at the rest of them going, there's a bunch of those silver shards in here. I don't know what the hell we're doing with them.
How big are the silver shards?
Each one is about 6 centimeters in length.
6 centimeters.
Yeah. That's not a lot.
Not if you were to, you could shank a Drago with one of these, but you'd have to be within arm's reach of it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, how quickly is the Drago catching up to the child?
Slowly, it will catch up to the child by the end of the street, giving you about 20 seconds.
Would I potentially be able to get Harriet to stop just in front of the Drago so I can jump out and try to shank it?
If you like. Alternatively, if you'd like to try your luck, you could potentially throw one of the shards at the Drago as you drive past.
No, I would prefer to rely on my skills, not my luck at the moment.
I mean, I got neither of either here, so...
I have had some training in the past. I think I will try to shank this thing with some silver.
Harriet
It seems to ignore us, so hopefully that will give me a couple seconds to get in close and maybe shank it.
Harriet just looks at you and says, "It's your funeral."
Well, I'm not letting a child die while I have options on trying to save it.
She slams her foot on the brake pedal, and once again the three of you are thrown forward from the force of the car stopping. Mike reaches into the crate and extracts one of the silver shards and hands it to you as you climb out of the passenger's side door. You take it into your hand, and then you see the Draugr just up ahead, shuffling in your direction as the child runs towards you, screaming, "Help!"
Fair enough.
Well, it's now or never. I run towards it and try to shank it in the chest with a shard of silver.
You hold the shard of silver in front of you and you run onto the footpath, standing between the Draugr and you. And the Draugr shuffles forwards. Make a luck check, please, as it sweeps its gaze between you and the child.
Yeah, I knew you were going to put luck in here somewhere.
There it goes.
7!
7. Very well,
How do
you
you
will be
keep doing that?
forewarned. The Draugr's dead eyes fixate on the shard of silver you hold in your hands, and then it stops. It shuffles in place for a moment, opens its mouth, and then begins to shuffle towards you instead of the child. And as it shuffles, you notice its skin bubbling and roiling as it begins to grow taller and taller, inches by the second.
Well, congratulations,
Well-
you got its attention.
Now or never. And I'm going to try and stab it before it finishes its transformation.
Yep, what is your dex?
55.
55, lovely. The Draugr has a dex of 20, so you get to go first. I would like you to rush up and make a fighting brawl check, please.
Damn it! And I can't push it because it's actually combat. That was
Yes.
That was a 97.
97, it's okay. The Draugr is going to make a fighting brawl check of his own as he swings his bony arms in your direction, flailing wildly, trying to protect himself against the silver. And that is a 38. He buffets you with one of his arms, knocking you off your feet and sending you sprawling down to the concrete footpath. You take 4 points of damage, and as you lie there, the Draugr grows bigger and bigger until it stands in front of you, towering over you. What would you like to do? And Mike and Archibald, you can see this happening from the car as well.
I would like to roll to the side and try to get up.
Yep, very well. Please make a dodge check.
I literally have nothing I can do to help here. That boy ain't no fighter. Okay.
The pass! Holy shit, that was a hard pass! That
As
was
the
an 11.
Draugr opens its dead mouth and inhales, you roll to the right. The Draugr's knees buckle and it falls forwards, landing where you were only a second ago with a loud, fleshy thump. making you shake from the impact. And now that it's right next to you, make a fighting brawl check with advantage, please.
Oh, fuck! 61,
Ow. Oh, dear.
which is a fail.
Which is a fail. And did you do it with
Yep.
advantage?
Yep.
Okay, this is no longer combat, so you can push it if you like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're out of combat, you rolled out of the way.
How was that still a fail? Hold on, and I've got my last roll of the advantage. Oh, fuck!
Well, what did
59!
59.
Really?
Want to spend luck?
Yeah!
you even have that much luck?
Yeah, but 9 is half of my luck left over. Fuck it. No, I need to kill this thing. Yes, I spend 9
Alright,
luck.
you spend your luck. Dodging the
Oh.
flailing arms, you step forward and slam the shard into the Draugr's neck. It looks at you and lets out a death rattle, exhaling putrid-smelling breath as its body begins to bubble and melt into goo. You stand there, wiping blood off the front of your dress and breathing deeply. As crying, the child is embraced by his mother, who briefly looks at you with a look of gratitude on her face, and then runs away into the darkness with her arm wrapped around her child.
I get up, run back to the car, jump back in the passenger side, and go, "Drive, darling, we've still got some work to do. Mike, is there any duct tape in the back there?"
Give me a minute. Is there any duct tape?
Yeah, there is. You can find a roll of
Okay.
duct tape.
Yeah,
I would like to tape a silver shard to the end of my
Your sword.
rapier.
Good idea. I'd like you... Yeah, there's no check required. You take a silver shard, you wrap duct tape around the edge of your rapier, and hold it in front of you, ready to fight if you encounter more of them.
You just hit Mike behind you going, well, let me put it this way. If we're going to be fighting any of those, I will be firmly, well and truly hiding underneath your skirt. No shame in saying that right now. I am not prepared for this.
Harriet slams her foot on the pedal again and the car lurches forward as she screams through the suburbs, leaving them behind and driving down a dirt trail towards the quarry on the side of the hill. You scream past a chain link fence and 2 open gates with a sign reading Mason Stoneworks into the quarry proper, and as you approach the rock-crushing shed, a large corrugated iron longhouse right in front of the quarry proper, with piles of huge boulders, shards of rock, and tubs of gravel behind it. You see a stooped man in a slouched hat fending off 2 Draugr with a pitchfork. As he sees you coming, he waves at you and then stabs one of the Draugr with his pitchfork, which screams, backing away. The sound briefly unnerves the man, and the pitchfork flies from his grasp as the undead horror thrashes and its partner lurches forward. The man's slouch hat is torn off by the dying Draugr as it melts. It flails its arm, reaches the tip of his hat and wrenches it off, revealing him to have inhuman ape-like features marking his face, which is covered in a thick layer of dark black hair.
Oh,
I'd like you all to
This
make
man
sanity
has-
rolls, please.
gee, I can't imagine why. Yeah, no. That's not good.
Let's pass.
That was
Pass.
a fail.
And that's a pass for Archibald as well. So for a pass, it's a sudden loss of 1. For a fail, it's 1d3.
That's a 2. Just hear Mike look over at, is it Myra?
Yep.
Yeah, Myra.
Yeah, just going, okay, big monkey guys. Let's say I believe that now.
As the...
Is that technically a correct theory that I had, or did I not state it as a theory?
So what was your theory? That they're
I
going
said-
after... That they're going after
I
descendants
said that
of...
the Vikings fought Bigfoot peoples.
Well, you seem to have adequate proof here. This man's face, which barely looks human, instead looks like the face of a great ape, and covered in a thick layer of black hair, and his bare arms coming out from under his overalls, also covered in a thick black fuzz. While he is definitely not a Bigfoot himself, as his proportions are relatively human, he at the very least definitely possesses their blood, so you may gain 1d4 sand.
Oh, so wait, the stonework is the one that looks like the Bigfoot.
Yes.
Oh, that's 1 sand, but fuck it.
Hey,
I'll take it.
again.
As the first Draugr melts into a puddle of ooze, the second one begins to swell and grow taller as it lurches towards the now defenseless ape-faced man. Backing away, the man sees your headlights, and in a slurred voice he calls out, "Help me!"
Harriet, second verse, same as the first. Drop me off near it.
Harriet says, "You sure this time?"
Well, this man don't seem to be completely human. He may know what the fuck is happening here.
Very well. Harriet slams her foot on the brakes, and you climb out of the truck. You run towards the Draugr as it reaches its full height of almost 10 feet, and prepares to fall down on the man. Please make a fighting brawl check. And you're using your sword, so you may make it with advantage.
Awesome. Oh shit, I hope I know what I'm doing. That first one is a pass of a 31, but I'll see if I can get better. Holy shit. That second one was an 18.
18. You
So that's a
rush
hard, I
forward.
believe, for me.
The Draugr,
Yes.
entirely focused on the ape-faced man, does not notice you. And so you run up and poke your sword with the silver shard attached to it into its flesh. It opens its mouth and lets out a great dying wail as its flesh begins to bubble and melt, and it turns into a puddle of goo right before your eyes.
Well, that worked a little bit better this time.
As it slowly melts away before your eyes, the ape-faced man looks at you. He wipes a hairy arm across his brow, takes a deep breath, and he says, "Oh, thank goodness, you saved me."
You're welcome. Now, do you know how to stop these things, or do you know anyone who might know how to stop these things? Yeah.
He looks at you, and before saying anything, he reaches down and picks up the pitchfork that he dropped on the ground. And as he picks it up, I'd like you to make a spot hidden check, please.
Would this be silver that I'm trying to see? That is a pass.
A hard pass for Mike, and sorry
Yep,
for the temporarily
okay.
bad connection. I'm trying to reboot my computer.
That's fair enough. As he picks up the pitchfork, it's illuminated in the headlights of the truck, and you notice it's not a pitchfork at all. Rather, it appears to resemble a trident, and it is made entirely of silver with intricate carvings and Norse-like runes embedded into its handle and points.
Well then. Did I see it enough to see the runes clearly
Yes,
to
you did.
read?
Yes, Everything
Can I make a Norse
Well, you can
check?
ask him if you can ask him if you can read them.
What do those runes say?
He shrugs.
Along with the other two questions that I asked just before, please.
Yep. He shrugs and he says, wouldn't be able to tell you, ma'am. It's an old family heirloom. Been passed down for generations. It was the only thing I had on hand when those things attacked. Now, majority of them seem to be making their way to the stone crushing shed, almost as if there's something in there that they want to destroy. He says, if you want to take a look at these runes, feel free, and he holds out the pitchfork.
Okay, and I guess make a Norse check.
Yes. In fact, as Archibald comes over and looks, you may make it with advantage.
Okay. Well, that first one was a normal pass, but I'm going to just see if I can get a higher one. Yeah, that's a hard pass.
It appears to be
These rolls
some
before.
incredibly archaic version of Norse. Different than any Norse you've seen. As if it's a precursor to the Norse runes and would someday turn into the Norse that you are familiar with. But you're able to understand the gist of its meaning. It reads thus: Weapon of the Hyperboreans, to fight back against the undead invaders. So shall Tsathoggua protect us.
Oh, well, there's a name that I haven't heard before.
You may make a Cthulhu Mythos check.
No. I'm going to push it, but...
Yep.
No.
The name is not familiar to you, and nor are the other terms. Hyperboreans. The undead invaders would obviously be the Draugr, but Tsathoggua and the Hyperboreans, a weapon passed down to protect them. None of this makes sense to you. I'd like you, specifically Myra, to make an idea check, please.
You check? Okay. That's a hard pass.
Reading the runes and the term undead invaders and remembering the depictions of battle back at the dig site, an idea forms in your head that the Vikings arrived from beyond the sea. Perhaps they had tangled with this race of people, these Hyperboreans, before, and when they arrived on the shores of Massachusetts, the native Hyperboreans sought to repel them, creating silver weapons to strike back against the Vikings' Draugr, eventually succeeding and driving them back out into the sea.
Well. Okay then.
This would suggest to you that indeed your theory was correct, and that the Draugr are specifically attacking anybody descended from these so-called Hyperboreans.
Well. Okay then.
The ape-faced man looks at you, and he says, well, I know when to not press my luck. And he says, I advise you not to stick around. Those things are gonna arrive soon, and when they get here, they're not gonna let a single shred of that stone-crushing building stay standing. You saved me.
I guess we better get there first.
He says, you saved me, I'm eternally grateful, but I gotta get back to my family. And with that, he turns and begins to run down the dirt road towards town into the darkness.
As he's running, I would just like to call out, do you have, like, a elder of your people? Or someone that, like, you know, is like the leader of your people within this town?
He stops, and he turns around, and he says, my people? What? You mean those of us who look like apes?
Yes.
He says, Hell, it's only me at this point. Apparently, or so they say, the ape-faced gene was more common in past generations. Now I'm the only one left in town who looks like this. And, for what it's worth, I've been ostracized my whole life. So no, I can't help you there.
Ah. Okay then. Well, I'm gonna go right into that stone shed. Good luck surviving.
He just nods, hoists his pitchfork/trident in front of him, and starts running down the hill towards the town. You see the rock-crushing shed just ahead, and you begin to make your way towards it. It's within walking distance. Harriet, still in the car, calls out, "You gonna go on foot?"
It might make more sense to take the car, at least so we can try and get there.
Yeah, I jump in the car instead.
Meanwhile, Mike just sort of scrambles in the car. You just hear him going, "Great, I mean something close to the goddamn ancient link, and it's not camera to be seen."
She turns the key in the ignition, the engine roars to life again, and she begins to scream through the quarry grounds towards the corrugated iron shed at the opposite end. As she drives, I'd like the three of you to make lizard checks, please.
Nope. Let me push. No.
Mine as well. And mine's a pass. Just, but still a pass.
Oh, God.
And I'll be right back.
You hear, mingling with the sounds of distant screams and crashes that still come from Rockport, you hear coming from your right, a terrible gasping for breath. You look and you see at least 10 or 20 Draugr slowly shuffling in the direction of the building that you now approach, staring at it, moving towards it with a single mind, almost as if they know what you plan to do in the building.
Harriet, how many entrances into this building?
She shrugs and she says, "You got the front door there. It should be a loading door at the back for bringing rocks in and out of the rock breaking building." And then she says, "That smaller shed over there," points to the left where you see a much smaller corrugated iron shed, something that resembles a backyard shed that anyone in the modern age would see in a suburban backyard. And she says, "And that's the powerhouse, I think, generator for the rock-breaking equipment. It should be in there."
Oh, why are they always stored separately? Oh, God.
She slams the brakes and the car comes to a screeching halt in front of the rock-breaking building. Illuminated by the bright headlights, you could see the dead, sunken faces of the Draugr slowly making their way across the quarry towards you.
Can we just take, just a couple minutes, because I really need to go to the toilet. It's making
sure.
it really hard to think.
That's sure. That's a cool 5-minute break. Well, we hope everyone watching is enjoying the first episode of our new campaign.
Are we dead? Did we die?
No, you're not dead. You've arrived at the rock-breaking building, and the Draugr appear to be making their way towards the same building. Harriet has pointed out that there are at least 2 entrances. The front main entrance that you can see, and possibly a loading entrance at the back so that rocks can be taken in and out of the building. She's also pointed towards a smaller shed to the left of it, and said that the generator for the rock-breaking equipment should be in there.
Well, I'm going the smartest in the universe, but I feel like hit the generator first and then go into... actually, no, if we hit the generator first, we can't go through the back entrance, because all the other entrance, because then all the machinery will be activated. Fun.
Yes, this will be fun.
So we either turn the machinery on first as a sort of preemptive strike, but then we only limit our option to the one, which I'm guessing is where all the others are going to come through.
Yep, but all you need to do is destroy the idol. If Myra is correct, destroying the idol will break the spell and cause all of the Draugr to once again fall inert.
Have the Draugr got here yet?
They haven't got to the building, but they're illuminated in the headlights of the car right now. They're about 20 feet away. There's a group of 10 to 20 of them slowly shuffling towards the rock-breaking building, almost as if they know what you plan to do here.
Okay. Can I roll an idea check to try and think of the quickest way to get this done? 'Cause
You may
obviously
go
time's
ahead.
a factor.
Yeah, you may go ahead and roll an idea check.
That's a 4. My god, my little boy can't figure out how to replace a camera and keep his job, but this matter, holy crap, I am Einstein.
As much as you are loath to admit it, you think that possibly splitting up might be the best option. Someone to get the generator started, while someone else gets into the rock-breaking building, is ready when the power comes on and destroys the idol straight away. However, you've never operated a generator or rock-breaking equipment, so you're not
Nope.
sure which group you should be part of. Do you have a mechanical repair skill?
I most certainly do not.
Yes, that'll...
I am back.
Yep. I know Archibald has mechanical repair, so he'd
Well,
be the
that
one
makes sense
most
then.
likely to get...
I'm back.
Yes, you're back.
Okay,
So, as
I
Harriet
have a question.
brings...
Who's
Yep.
got the best decks out of the group?
I've got 55.
What's Archibald
70.
got?
Yeah, Archibald's got
Oh, wow.
70. Also,
Well, again, I was going to say we kind of need him for the generator, though.
you
so I was
also
gonna say-
notice at this point that underneath Archibald's khaki jacket, you could see the butt of a rifle hanging over his shoulder.
Okay, so he
Was that
actually
sorry?
has some.
Yeah, Archibald has a gun on hand.
Oh,
As a 22
Okay.
long rifle.
Not sure what
Hey.
good it's going to do against these Draugrs, but, you know, someone needs to defend themselves.
yes. Well, unfortunately, I have no means to defend myself, so no matter where I go, I'm going to need someone to cover my ass.
Well, if you shatter a silver shard and place the slivers of silver in the end of the bullet, you may have a Draugr fighting weapon right there.
Maybe.
That, however, will take time to do.
So Mike has
Obviously-
come up with the idea that, as loath as he is to suggest this, that you split up, someone goes into the small shed to get the generator up and running, while someone goes into the rock-breaking shed and is ready by the equipment with the idol, so that as soon as it turns on, they may operate it.
Well, I can add to that in that what if Harriet blocks off the back door with the car and makes her way in the big shed to help Mike operate the machinery, and
No,
I will
look,
try to hold them off at the door.
No, I don't know how to activate any of this stuff. I'm simply a reporter from freaking out of town. I got nothing to this. Look,
That's
if you
why
want
Harriet
somebody-
would go with you.
Does Harriet know how to use any of this stuff?
She shrugs and she says, I'm the driver.
Yeah,
I
look,
drive
the only
rocks
person-
in and out of the quarry, that's it.
Yeah, the only person who knows how to operate machinery seems to be the old guy. Look, I could take the idol and stand by and wait for it to turn on, but after that, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know how any of this crap works.
So given that Archibald has a gun, would you like to perhaps send Archibald to get the generator running, and then the
That
three
was my
of you
idea.
that are left hopefully are able to hold off any Draugr that get close and get the equipment going?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. That Harriet and Mike go into where the machine is. I'll stand at the doorway and use it as a funnel to try and keep the Draugr back. because hopefully they'd only need to come through the door one at a time. Hopefully,
Yeah.
is what Mira is thinking, and that way give Mike and Harriet time to potentially get the machine working.
Yep. Okay, I guess.
With Archibald turning it on, because I know how this is gonna work.
Very
I'm
well.
kind of hoping that what the generators on the damn thing just turns on automatically, but sure, let's go with that. I mean, what else have I got to lose at this point?
You climb out of the car and your boots crunch onto the dirt and pebbles outside of the rock-breaking building. You have just enough time to see, in the light of the high beams, the Draugr shuffling ever closer towards you before Harriet slams down the pedal and with a screech drives the car forwards and around the corner of the shed. You all look at each other, nod in good luck, and split up. Okay. So, I would like... So, Myra and Mike, what are your decks?
55.
55, and Archibald's is... Archibald's is 70. Okay,
Mine
so...
is 65.
Yeah.
You look around and you see the Draugr drawing closer and closer, closing between here and the entrance to the rock-breaking shed will probably bring you within arm's reach of them. So you have a few options here. You could just try to run for it, hope that you can get inside without them being able to grab you. Or Archibald can maybe fire off some shots with his rifle, try to hold them back long enough for you to get into the building. Or anything else you'd care to think of?
Well, Mira could try and do a fighting retreat
She can.
and just like jab at them, and they seem to have enough intelligence to know that the silver is
Is bad for
dangerous.
them, yes.
Maybe.
So, how would you like to handle this?
Well, I'll jab at them, try to slow them down while you run ahead to the sheds.
Okay. Alright. So with that, you all rush ahead to the... the three of you rush ahead to the shed as the Draugr draw closer, their arms outreached, their bodies already beginning to swell and grow as their leathery skin expands and tears under this new mass that rapidly expands. Mike
Bigger targets for me.
Mike fixes his eyes on the sliding door that serves as the entrance to the shed and begins to run towards it. And as he does, the Draugr at the very front of the group shuffle forward, swinging their arms and baying for your blood. I would like Myra to make a fighting brawl check, please.
And I'm still using my sword with the silver attached to the
Yes,
end.
you still are, so you may do it with advantage.
I don't think I'll need that because that was a nat 1.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
That's 2 for me alone this session.
the Draugr you're stabbing at's going to respond with a fighting brawl check of his own, but I don't think he's going to beat it. The only way he can beat it is to get a 1 of his own. That's a 45. As this 8-foot-tall monstrosity stumbles towards you with its arms outreached, you duck and then poke your... thanks, Ivy. And poke your sword into its belly. It shrieks, ah! And its skin begins to bubble and dissolve before your eyes. The other Draugr near it recoil, almost as if they're scared of you, and take a few steps back, raising their arms to protect themselves. Mike, you may make a dex check with advantage to run into the shed.
Yeah, that's right. No one's gonna die while I sit back and do nothing again.
Well, first one was a 27, so it's already a pass. Let's see if I can improve on that. Yeah, 27 and a 95. I'm going to take that 27.
You sprint past Myra towards the sliding wooden door and you grab it, and with a groan of exertion, you force it open and run inside. And then you call out to Myra, "Come on, hurry up!"
Yeah, let's go already.
Myra, please make a dex check if you want to run, or of course you can stay and fight if you want, but this is Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, I would need to run to get to the door and then close it behind me, wouldn't
Yes, you would.
I? Okay, so dex check, did you say?
Yep, dex check.
Can I push that, or is it combat?
You can push it. It's not combat. You killed the one that was...
Fuck, that's a fail.
You run towards the open door as Mike calls for you, and then the unthinkable happens. Your foot is caught on the hem of your skirt, and you call out, swearing as you feel yourself tumbling forwards, just out of arm's reach of Mike, as the Draugr, seizing this opportunity, breathe and exhale with excitement and begin to shuffle forwards, their bodies already expanding.
Well, shit.
Would you like to trust Mike to save you, or would you like to go for a dodge check?
Oh, so
It depends. What the hell do I gotta roll to try and save her?
For saving her, it's going to be a strength check to lift her up and pull her in.
And what was the one to save yourself?
Dodge.
27. I'm going to try and dodge.
Alright, go ahead, roll the dodge check.
I feel like your dodge is going to be better than my 30 in strength.
It's a difference of 3.
Oh god.
No. Is this combat?
Maybe pushed, it may be pushed.
That's a 6! Oh
That's
my
a
God.
6.
That's a hard pass!
Come on, whispering to yourself.
You just hear Mike's just going, for the love of get the letter already, let's go!
You flip forward, pull yourself up to your feet, and as you scramble on your pull yourself to your hands and knees, and as you scramble along the dirt, a 9-foot-tall Draugr groans, and its knees begin to buckle, and as it falls forwards, you pull up fully to your feet and dash through the open door, both you and Mike grabbing the handle and sliding it shut, as you hear the thump of the Draugr's heavy body slamming into the earth. You have just enough time to breathe a sigh of relief before the Draugr begin pounding on the walls of the shed, groaning as they pound with heavy, overgrown limbs on the thin corrugated iron.
I really hope the professor's good with his hands or we're screwed.
The inside of the rock-breaking shed is almost inky, almost nothing but inky blackness. The lights are all off, and the only thing you can make out is the pointy-edged outline of a large piece of machinery in front of you, taking up the majority of the shed. And so, the two of you back towards it, pressing your backs up against the cold metal as the Draugr continue bashing and the corrugated iron groans under their weight.
I would like this. While they're bashing, as soon as the hole opens up, I would like to try and jab through it.
Yep. Okay, we cross over to Archibald. Archibald, you watch the others head towards the rock-breaking building, and grabbing your rifle from around your shoulder, you make sure it has a round in it, and then begin to sprint towards the generator shed. You see a couple of stray Draugr moving across the other side of the quarry, about to intercept you at the front of the powerhouse. Would you like to try and dodge past them? Would you like to try to distract them with a shot?
Awesome.
Yep. Alright, go ahead and make a dodge check, please. Let us see. Go ahead and make a dodge check. What is your dodge? Your dodge is 40. Yes, that's not bad. So you've got a decent chance. You got the same with your rifle. They're both at 40. So yeah, go ahead, roll a D100. I'll roll for you. And that is a 64. Would you like to push that? I believe he will be pushing it.
Nah.
50.
Oh, finally, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Okay, well, go ahead. You
I
can
am
make the
back.
dodge check yourself then.
Yeah, please
Oh,
make
I'm-
a dodge.
Yep.
It's been for 8 hours. Okay.
Yep.
What do we do? What have I
You're
done?
you're making a dodge check to see if you can squeeze past one of the Draugr and get to the shed.
Dice God, Faye, take pity on me. Let's do this.
40. That's a pass.
Oh.
You duck as the Draugr reaches for you with dead arms and continue running towards the shed as the two Draugr turn around and begin to shuffle after you, their bodies growing and expanding 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet before your eyes. You reach the powerhouse and make a luck check, please.
Alright.
Oh.
Rolling. P100. That is not so lucky.
No.
That is an 82. You can push it if you like.
I would love to push it.
Don't worry, it's just our lives that are in the balance on this one.
50. That's a pass.
Oh, thank God.
At first, your heart
Oh.
sinks as you see a copper padlock hanging off the handle of the sliding shed door. But then you reach out for it, and it clicks open. By some miracle, it is unlocked. You rip it off and toss it aside. And then, as you slide the door open and run in, one of the huge 9-foot-tall Draugr shuffles towards you. As you rush into the shed, please take a shot with your rifle to buy yourself a few seconds to get this generator up and running. Please make a firearms check.
Alright, let's do this wanted style. I'm gonna curve the bullet.
Oh, God.
I will not curve the bullet.
You raise your gun and you fire at the oncoming Draugr. You miss. The bullet slams harmlessly into the dirt. The two Draugr continue shuffling towards the shed, at this point only meters away as they grow to their maximum size. You will have only seconds to work, as you have not been able to deter them. You look from left to right, and you see a small chain hanging from the ceiling. You pull it, and a hanging light bulb bursts to life, allowing you to see what the tiny shed contains. A small electric generator with metal wires leading out of the back, digging into the ground, routing power from this small powerhouse to the rock-breaking building, and next to it, a bottle of gasoline to get it started. What would you like to do?
Oh, well, is it possible? Alright, is it possible to fix the generator, but also have just enough left over, even a few drops, to create some sort of distance between myself and the Draugr?
That's a good idea. Please make a mechanical repair check.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, headphones. That is a pass.
That is a pass. You grab the jerry can and pour about half of it into the generator. And then you fiddle with some of the mechanisms, twist a couple of wires and jury-rig a whole mechanism so that it will be able to at least turn on, even though it's not fully fueled. You pull the lever and then breathe a sigh of relief as the generator shudders and begins to hum and vibrate, transporting power to the other building. You then take what's left of the jerry can and, standing in front of the open door, you slosh it out of the shed, creating a puddle between yourself and the Draugr. They continue shuffling towards you, their cold, dead feet splashing soggily into the kerosene as they continue to come towards you, at this point only seconds away. What would you like to do?
Oh, okay. Can I ignite it?
You want to fire a rifle bullet at it and ignite it?
Oh yeah, we'll do it Hollywood style. We know we have tested that
Yep.
this does not work, but
You
hey,
take a
it's
step
now
back
blood of us.
into the shed, press your back up against the wall, and aim your gun. Make a firearms check.
That is not a pass.
You can push it if you
I
like.
Push it.
Yep, you got to get 40 to pass. 28.
Yes.
You hear your rifle click as you fire. The bullet slams into the kerosene and ignites it. Because it's only kerosene, it doesn't create a towering inferno, but a small flame begins to lick against the ankles of the Draugr. They open their mouths and groan in some facsimile of pain, but otherwise make no reaction towards the flames at all, and even as embers begin to lick up their legs and catch fire to their clothes, they continue shuffling closer towards you until they reach the
fiery Draugr now. Sorry, guys.
reach the door of the shed and begin as they reach the door of the shed and begin banging loudly on the corrugated iron, trying to force their way through. Meanwhile, in the rock-breaking building, you hear two sounds. The first, the sound of a car screeching to a halt, and then the sound of a wooden door sliding open and slamming shut. Harriet's voice going, "Okay, I've blocked off this entrance." And then a loud click and hum as all of the lights in the building burst to life, flooding the small shed with white fluorescent illumination. In front of you lies a huge rock-breaking machine. Its control panel easily towering over either of you, with a huge conveyor belt and platforms at the end attached to drills and hydraulic presses designed to break the rock brought in from the quarry into smaller pieces or crush it into gravel.
Okay. This is the part where we figure out how this magically works, right?
The Draugr continue to bang. Crash! Crash! I'd like you both to make luck checks, please.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's a pass.
That's a pass. We'll see.
Oh,
What?
for me, huh?
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh, you don't have to M1 because you're in a different shed. Only Remy has
Yeah,
to.
you're
Only an
fine.
M2
Okay.
and Remy. Yep.
Yeah.
So
This
Myra,
is
go
the
ahead,
magic
make a
thing.
luck check.
Sorry, I forgot that I was muted. I failed.
Yep. You failed. Okay,
Ah.
the group luck check is failed, and with an ear-wrecking
Well,
crash, a portion of the corrugated iron wall splits open, and a single Draugr begins to shuffle through the gap, already at full size, and you can see two or three others beyond him trying to squeeze past.
I'm taking
Yeah.
the statue. I'm going over to the rock crusher thingy.
Yep.
I think it's my time to shine again.
Yeah, well, what are
Okay.
you doing? Hurry it up. We're kind of short on this.
So you
Yeah,
reach
I know.
you reach into your coat, you reach into the pocket of your dress, pull out the idol, and toss it to Mike. Mike, make a dex check to catch it, please.
Of course. Alright, pushing that. And that is a pass. You don't want to know what the other roll was.
You clasp your hands around the statue and immediately feel compelled to drop it as it is ice cold, eating into your skin. Full glaciers and icicles now dripping off its surface. Please make a power check.
Ah, God. That's an 8. I don't give a shit.
an
I live
8.
in Brooklyn.
You take 1 point of damage and grit your teeth as you run over to the crushing platform at the end of the shed, throw the idol down onto it, and then begin to sprint towards the control panel. Meanwhile, what is Myra doing?
Mara's gonna try and stab the bitch.
Okay. Try to buy some time as the rest of the Draugr bang on the walls, and the one that's already in the shed shuffles towards you and begins to buckle its knees to drop down and crush you. You strike out with your sword. Make a fighting brawl check, please, with advantage.
Holy shit, that was a 6, so that's a... Yeah, I'm not going to get much better than that. That's a 6,
Yep.
so that's an extreme pass.
You plunge your sword into its chest. It screeches and begins to melt into goop. Make a luck check, please.
Fuck. Nope, that's a fail!
Bang!
Oh,
Bang!
shit.
Crash! The hole in the wall widens, and 3 Draugr begin shuffling into the shed, their bodies expanding before your eyes. And they simply groan as they suck the dead air in through their soggy mouths.
Oh no.
We're going to get to the end of this, and you're going to reveal that there was a very simple way to stop this.
Maybe.
Holy.
Remember, in Call of Cthulhu, resorting to combat is usually the last resort.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I legit could not think of another way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep walking backwards as I stab out at these guys.
Yep. Meanwhile, back in the powerhouse, I would like Archibald to make a luck check, please.
Oh no.
That is a 781. Oh wait,
Yep,
never
so it would have
mind.
been a 78. You could roll that again. I'll let you
That
do
is
that whole
called
check.
breaking. I have broken the time space continuum. That is
87.
87.
Would you like to push it?
I would love to.
73. That's a
Oh.
pass. You have your back pressed against the generator as it vibrates, your gun aimed out the door, shaking in your hands as the 2 flaming Draugr pound on the wall. Bang! 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 You see the wall dent and warp under their weight, but it doesn't seem to give way yet. As you watch, the fire crawls up their bodies, and you see scorch marks begin to blacken their leathery flesh. Their skin begins to bubble and crawl. It appears the fire is ever so slowly burning them away. Meanwhile, Mike Moxley, here you are at the control panel of the rock-smashing machine, looking at a series of levers and buttons and instructions that have long ago faded away with age.
Of course it has. Yay.
In order to use this, you must make an operate heavy machine check, or if you don't have it, I'll allow you to make a hard intelligence.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the hard intelligence because last I checked, 40 is much higher than 1. That's a 39.
39.
Oh.
Hell, that's it. Maybe I missed my calling in life.
You quickly sweep your gaze over the control panel, trying to read the little icons that are emblazoned on the metal. You see one of them that has a picture of a hammer crushing a rock, and decide that must be the one you're going for. You place your palm on the red knob at the end of the lever, and as you go to pull it, make a luck check, please.
Oh, you son of a bitch. That's a 31, that's just a pass.
At first, it doesn't give, appearing to be jammed, but you pull harder. Come on, come on, come on. And then there's a loud click, and the lever comes down. The machine whirs to life, the tiny shed being overtaken in the roar of industrial engines and machinery. And then you watch as the great hydraulic press begins to move slowly down towards the idol.
Of course, it has to go slowly.
The
Come on!
three Draugr shuffle towards you. As Myra jabs at them with her sword and steps backwards towards Mike. Come on, come on! All three of you yell. And then you see it. The idol glowing a bright white as the hydraulic press begins to press down upon it. It begins to shake and rumble on the platform, and as the great hammer crushes it, I'd like everybody present to please make dodge checks.
Hooray! Not good. I failed mine.
Failed yours. How did Myra go?
Gonna spend 2 fucking luck.
2 luck. And how did Archibald go?
I thought he wasn't in the...
Oh, well, he's still going to be caught in this blast. If,
luck check, you said?
a dodge check, so
Dodge.
40. Would you like to push that?
Oh, that is... Not a pass. I'll love to push it.
Ah, crap, I'm in danger.
Oh.
Ah,
thank you.
pass. The great iron crusher presses down on the idol as it vibrates and begins to release the same energy that it did back in the tent. It vibrates, it shakes, a great ringing sound echoes throughout the tiny shed, causing your ears and noses to bleed, and then whoosh! The frozen energy bursts out, sending you all flying.
This is gonna hurt, isn't it?
1 point of damage, Mike, as it sweeps you off your feet and your head is knocked against the side of the machinery. The ringing sound grows louder and louder as the hydraulic press itself begins to shake, crushing the idol, and the Draugr moan, drawing ever closer. You shut your eyes as there is a loud crash of breaking rock that rings out throughout the shed. I'd like everyone to make a sand check, please.
Yay. Oh, okay, that's a pass.
Oh, that's a pass, thank the Lord.
That is not a pass. Oh, hang on, wait, no. By 5, I didn't pass it.
You did pass. Okay, so
Yeah.
for passing, that will be a sand loss of 1. For failing, that'll be 1d3.
Yay. Just casually chipping away one at a time.
You open your eyes after the great crash subsides and all is quiet. The rock-breaking machinery is in pieces, the hydraulic press having been thrown off the end of it by some great force, the big iron hammer now lying in 2 halves on opposite sides of the shed. The control panel is making a loud hiss as plumes of black smoke emanate from the controls. Aside from that, the shed is decorated with the scattered, bloated corpses of Draugr, once again inert. All of the remaining Draugr throughout Rockport collapse where they stand. Shriveled corpses remain all over town, on the street, in homes and shops, and on the boulder-strewn hills, remaining just long enough for everybody to watch them disintegrate once again into bones and clothes. But the town is silent. The threat over. You have survived. Okay, for destroying the idol, you each receive 1d10 sanity points.
Oh, 1d10.
Yep.
Oh, that's a 9.
Hey, that's 10!
Wow, look at you go.
For saving 2 townspeople from being killed by Draugr, you gain 2d3 sanity.
Okay, quick question. Can I go above my max sanity?
You can. Your maximum
Oh.
is just
Come on.
100 minus your Cthulhu mythos.
Okay.
The 2d3, did you say?
Yep.
That's an extra 5.
That was 2 1s, so that's 2.
I'm now
That's
at a
okay.
net gain. I'm now at a net gain.
I'm at base.
Yep.
It's making it.
In the days to come, the event that rocked the town fades into obscurity, almost as if the townspeople don't even wish to talk of it. The archaeological dig is quickly closed, and Miskatonic University withdraws all students and staff, not issuing any statement to the public as to why the dig has been closed. Professor Manning, upon returning to Miskatonic, is judged to be unfit to remain in office and is committed to Arkham Asylum,
Yep.
where he remains for weeks and months afterwards, rocking back and forth in a padded cell, simply whispering to himself, "It's the big break in my career. It's the big break. The big fucking break." In the days that follow, you retrieve some of the relics from the dig site. The majority of the recovered relics are packaged up and taken back to Miskatonic University, where they are quickly disposed of, placed into storage in the restricted section of Orn Library, where members of the public will never be able to find them, but where the staff of the university will continue to study them in secret, trying to learn the mystery of the ill-fated Viking settlement in Massachusetts and the fate of the Hyperboreans who drove them away. Mike, you are lucky enough to find what remains of your camera lying on the dirt road a short drive from the dig site.
Okay, is the film okay? Is there any chance to salvage this?
I would like you to please make a photography check.
Oh god. That is a hard pass.
A hard pass. Miraculously, although the outer casing and lens of the camera are shattered, and the tripod is bent and warped from the force of impact, the film within the camera is mostly intact. Portions of it have been damaged in the impact or have been soiled by the dirt and mud. The vast majority of it, you are happy to find, can be reclaimed. And so, you may select any 3 photos that you took throughout this session to develop. These being the ones that you were able to salvage from the ruined film.
Oh, shit. Okay. So how many did I actually take? I think I took about
So you took
5?
You took one of the dig team, one of the
Yep.
steels within the Viking ruins, one of the relics, one each of the idol and the glyph and runes on it, and you attempted to take one of the Draugr when they first emerged, but this photo ends up just being a massive colourless blurs.
Yeah, okay, so that one's off. So I'm thinking the dig team. the stones, and one of the better ones I took of the relics.
Yep.
And I guess the article is going to be closer to a archaeological dig site shut down rather than its actual success.
You also made notes earlier in the session about the full inventory of the dig. And you were able to
did
provide these notes and these photos to your editor at the Arkham Advertiser. He smiles as he looks at all of the materials you've gathered and he says, "Well, my boy, sounds like you hit the scoop."
Yeah, more like the scoop hit me, but look, sorry about the camera. I'll be more careful in the future.
He says, "Hey, don't worry, I have a feeling this article's gonna go over well, and we got plenty of cameras. Still, I hope you won't mind your next paycheck, your next few paychecks only being half your hourly rate." He smiles under his bushy mustache.
Just as he goes, look, considering I was worried I wasn't going to have coming back to a job, I'll take what I can get, boss. Thank you.
So, I'd like you to make either a fast talk check or an own language check to write this article.
Let's see what I can do. Ooh, that's an 18, and I think I'm going to go the fast talk check.
Yep. And so, given that you're going for fast talk, you have the opportunity to put a sensationalist spin on this article. So what exactly will you put into the article?
Well, obviously it's going to be a lovely tale of a dig site gone wrong, discovered ancient secrets from, Viking encampments that really shouldn't have been there. Obviously I can't exactly mention the other half with no proof about the whole Viking, the actual Draugr part, but how would I go about spinning this?
So you
thing?
spin it as, you don't mention any Draugr or any supernatural occurrences, but you spin it as this unsolvable mystery, a Viking village in the middle of a colonial settlement with an idol that's thousands of years old from the Mediterranean Sea, and how utterly confounding and mysterious the whole thing was, and you finish it off with tantalizing suggestions of a creepy atmosphere that hung over the whole dig site, and the feeling that you could never quite shake of being watched by something undefinable.
Maybe just put a small note towards the end that the person leading the site, the stress of trying to solve this was proved too much for him.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone goes to try and learn more about it.
You write that Professor Manning was driven insane by the pressure of this dig, being unable to solve the mystery, and was committed to Arkham Asylum. You also leave a footnote about Anna May, who suffered a grievous injury during the dig, and unfortunately had to be given medical attention afterwards. And you finish off the article by writing, "Coincidence? Or is there something more sinister in play?" And what did you get on your fast talk check? Was it just a regular success?
No, it was a hard pass.
Hard,
actually.
lovely.
18.
So this article is soon published, and to your great surprise, ends up on the front page of the Arkham Advertiser, emblazoned with your 3 photographs. The article ends up being the talk of the town, not doing anything to quell the rumours that came out of this dig, but rather causing the population of Arkham to speculate even further as to what mystery awaits there unsolved. The paper sells more copies over the span of the next week than it sold in the previous 2 years combined. And so your editor smiles and he said, "Hell, kid, that's a pay rise if I ever heard of one."
Ah, damn.
And so you may add 1d10 to your credit rating.
Oh, that's please.
Yay.
Oh, that's a 7. I'll take
very
that.
nice.
That puts, all the way up to a lofty 16. Hooray!
Anna May's article eventually is published in the New England Journal of Archaeology, and her article is the direct opposite of Mike's. Light on sensationalism or speculation, it simply provides a list of all the relics that have been found, quotes attributed to the professor, and Anna May's personal findings as to the possible origin and use of the artifacts. She strays completely away from anything touching the supernatural, and when you visit her in the hospital shortly after the publication of her article, she makes a great effort to not even mention the Draugr that she saw at all, perhaps having convinced herself that it was just a dream. Of course, she knows better, as she'll be back in the next episode.
Hooray!
And so ends episode 1 of Terror of Tsathoggua, Crushed. We'll be back in 2 weeks for episode 2, Trail of Tsathoggua, or at least the first part of it, as the next episode is a 2-parter.
Ooh.
So episodes 2 and 3 will be Trail of Tsathoggua, part 1 and part 2. And in the next episode, our new investigators, having had their first brush with the mythos, will be contacted by Miskatonic University, who have received a lead that may reveal the identity and nature of these Hyperboreans. A strange artifact discovered in the cold wastelands of Greenland. So our investigators will travel across the ocean to the Arctic to face whatever terror awaits them there. Okay, everybody gain 1d6 to any 3 skills.
Okay. Do not know what we're going to do it. So it's basically 3d6 skill points. 3 skill.
I'm just working out how much money I have to work with now.
Yes, a bit more.
Just a tiny bit, yeah. Woohoos!
3d6 or 2d6?
1d6 for each skill, or 2d6 to 1 skill, or 3d6 to 1 skill. It's up to you.
Let's do a Liam bar. I have 95.
You also all gain 1d6 of Cthulhu Mythos skill.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, I got a 1.
1, yep.
1d6, and I got a 2.
A 2, lovely.
I'm
Right,
now
the
to
races.
6. Cthulhu Mythos.
I'm with my lofty 2. I now stand at 2.
2, yes. In addition,
5 points.
you may each do a luck check.
Ah, yes.
If I pass this, I swear to God,
I failed mine.
I failed mine considerably.
If you have failed,
Passed.
if your luck is below 30, you get 1d10 luck. Oh, if your luck is above 30, you get 1d10 luck. If your luck is below 30, you get 2d10 luck. And if your luck is below 10, you get 2d20 luck.
Wow.
2d20 luck, oh thank God.
I
I'll
got
take that.
10! I got 1d10, I got 10. Now, I've somehow walked out of this with both higher luck and sanity than when I walked in.
I got a 19 and a 1 on my d20s.
Yep.
It's better than nothing.
I now have 27 luck. That is 2 more luck than I went into this, and I have the same amount of san. And I'm guessing the power change is permanent?
That is permanent, yes.
Yep, no problem. And we'll get our health and MP back, because it's
Yep,
been...
because it's the end of the session.
Yep,
and,
been a period of time.
So thus concludes the opening episode of our Terror of Tsathoggua campaign.
Nicely done, nicely done.
Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thanks to BCG and Ivy and all the other nameless Twitch viewers, and thank you to the 2 people who followed. We'll be back next week with more exciting adventures. Until then, don't read magic spells out loud.
Ah, well.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.